All right, so everyone, well, welcome everyone. Hopefully everybody has been home and safe and been taking care of themselves. There's no safer place than be here with Anna and Investor Expo, than going out there and try to make a stimulus check. I mean, everybody's realizing now that there's no better time to get into this market, and you see what's been going on the last couple of, in the past 2 weeks than now. So, worrying about finding a new job you know, or even that you're investing and you lost so much, don't know if you should average down or, is it too late? Listen, the one thing you have to remember, it's never too late to trade the market. It's not going out of business. You and I will be here, and it would still, I mean, the market always will be here. You and I will eventually will die, but it will always will be there. So, but there's no better time to get in than now. So before we get started, could everyone just give me a chat in the questions? Just want to make sure everybody could hear and see me okay on the questions. Just want to be able to do that. There we go. All right, good to see you, Jeff. All right. You can hear and see okay. Okay, a couple of people was logged in as active trader, and so good. All right, good, perfect. All right. So let's get right into it. So what I'm going to talk about, ladies and gentlemen, fellow traders, is how to make a full-time income as a part-time trader in any market condition. Now, to do that, there's a couple of things that we're going to cover to kind of train you a little bit of how to do these things. First of all, I'm going to navigate of the challenges that people have in today in markets, not knowing about the high frequency trades, the algorithms, the dark pools. And how do I know this? Because I live here in New York. I was trained by the best traders in the world. I was a market maker, and nothing has changed in the 25 years that I've done it, other than now tickets are free. Technology is easier and things are faster. You're not doing it over a 56K modem, if you remember those days. I'm going to explain to you exactly what the difference between level 1, level 2, and level 3 is. And if we can, we'll probably get to level 4, something that will just literally be very disturbing for you. And you're going to realize, like, how do I not know this stuff? And I'm going to show you how to basically how to position yourselves on entries and exits, and how to utilize time and sales to see if these orders are real or fake or not. So that's really what we're going to talk about. Now, all I can tell you is this: I can't teach you how to make money in 45 minutes. All I could do is really get you excited and totally like make you realize that I got to get into this. I got to start doing this. So here's a picture of me about a month ago, about 2 months ago. I was one of the last presenters here at the NASDAQ Center. I'm a guest speaker there, and I talk about one of their greatest tools that NASDAQ wants all of you guys to use, and it's called NASDAQ Total View. So if you ever wonder like where these orders go and how do you see them and all that stuff, that's what we're going to be talking about today. Now, NASDAQ, I helped develop their platform. I was one of the beta testers. I was one of the original SOS bandits that, if you ever read any of the old books, what are these SOS bandits? One of the original day traders that did this. So I'm going to basically go over it and explain to you in detail. Now, just to tell you a little history about me, I don't want to bore you with all this stuff, but the reason why I teach is because the way I've learned is that if you surround yourself with good traders and you teach traders, we all make money together. So at the end of this presentation, I'm going to just let you know, I'm going to want to invite every single one of you to come join me in my trading room. And I want you to meet the grandpas, the engineers, the physicists, the vets, people just like you, the retirees. The list goes on and on. People, and see if people actually make money doing this. So once I'm done here, if you're happy, you're impressed, and like, I want to see all this stuff, you guys can come and join me, and you'll have one wonderful week to see what it's like to trade in pre-market and aftermarket. Now, I have a question for everyone here, okay? Just want to get to know a little bit about everyone. What kind of trader is everybody here? Are you a stock trader, futures, commodities, bonds, Forex, all of the above? Just want to kind of get to know a little bit about who's logged in and, and what kind of traders we have. Okay, you got Forex. Jeff here, Forex. You got some futures guys, some day trading, stocks and options. Okay. Ronaldo's Forex. All right. Anybody else? Guys, don't be shy. No one's going to pick on you. No one's going to make fun of you. I always like to say, listen, if you don't talk, you can't learn. Okay. You don't got to be a fast typer to kind of put it in there. Some cryptos, Forex, stocks and options. Okay. So anyway, just to let you know a little about what I do, I'm a stock trader. Now, just because you do futures and Forex, listen, this is my whole analogy behind that. If you've been doing this for more than a month and you're not making money, you're pretty much in the wrong business, okay? In a way of maybe it's time to change, try something else. So listen, and I always use the doctor method. If a doctor puts you on medication, you've been doing it for a month and you're not getting better, you're actually getting worse, because that's usually day trade, traders, if you keep losing money, not making money, you got two options: get on a new medication or find a new doctor. That's really what it comes down to it. So that's something. So don't look at it where, if you're not making money with something, it's okay to try something else and at least know a little bit about it. That's really what it comes down to it. So anyway, that's actually that photograph. You could see a bunch of kids tormenting Wall Street. That was actually a friend of mine that was in that picture. Pretty funny about that picture. Look at the monitor. And by the way, if you look at the monitor, can everyone notice on that monitor? Look at what you see. Do you see any? You notice there's no charts in there. It's all like numbers. That's what I'm going to teach you. I'm going to show you exactly what we look at and how we follow the money, because that's how we trade. Now, here's my a picture of my family I always like to share with you. I've been married for 20 years. My wife gave me 3 wonderful sons. Unfortunately, I don't make girls. That's, they said the male makes the sex. But I love my kids. And let me tell you something. What's great about this job is that you can travel. You can do it anywhere in the world. It's not a full-time job, and it pays a lot of money. But you got to do it right. You got to do it right, ladies and gentlemen. Now, how to do it right is very simple. Why you're here is not to learn how to make money, which is I was always taught. I was always taught you're here because you want to stop losing. That is everyone's biggest issue. You see, once you stop learning how to lose money, then you could start learning how to make money. That's what it's all about. I know everybody is like, well, Fausto, I watched you on Facebook Live and YouTube Live, and you were trading ABIO today, and that stock was great. I don't know, did you guys see ABIO? And DraftKings going up too. That's another one. This stock right here, this morning, if you go to my YouTube and journal, you could see it right here. Stock literally went from $6 up to 13. Where are you going to find that in a future stock? Where are you going to learn that in a Forex stock? Where are you going to learn that on a commodity stock? No. You know where you find it? Trading the stocks. Okay. So let me just get this out of the way. Let's get back to it and see why it's going up and why it's going down. So anyway, by the way, here's just a photograph of some of the traders in our room. You could see them. What's great about this photo, you could look at them. You could probably pick every single person, who they are and what they do. They're just like you guys. Just please keep in mind. So I've been trading for 25 years. I love it. I've trained thousands and thousands of people that have been my students, and hopefully you guys can get that opportunity. So let's get started. The Dow's up 530 points in total, okay, as of, you could see it yesterday. But look at this market. The market has been on fire lately. Do you realize that we're not that far away from where we left off 3 months ago? We came down all the way down from 1,800 points, 1,800, and now, 18,000. We're already above 25,000. We bounced over almost 7,000, almost 8,000 points. Now, is this rally really over? People like flipping out. Is it too late or whatever? Listen, it's never too late. Okay. Penn, Kohl's, Norwegian Cruise Line. Okay. Yeah, you could have bought Norwegian Cruise Line at $4. Okay. Now it's at 17, 18, or is it up more than that actually? Where is it now? Yeah, it's at 17. Is it too late? I don't know. The stock was at 40 at one point. Okay. A lot of these stocks, you're seeing them. Wayfair went down to 20. It's at 180. You're like, is it too late? Well, the question is this. You just got to learn how to follow the money. That's basically it. There's going to be a cure for the coronavirus. And, I heard one of the greatest lines from one of the greatest investors, entrepreneurs in the world, Warren Buffett. He said 3 days ago, I don't care who the president is, over the years, people keep pushing us down. You can't bet against America. America will always win. Okay. So the thing is this: you saw what happened with the market getting crushed with coronavirus. You're seeing some opportunities. Now the question is it too late? And how do we know if they're going to continue to go higher? So regarding about all these stocks, SCRN, look at all these stocks, $3. By the way, this is just in one day. Look at these stocks, all in one day. Now, the question is, how do we find these stocks? People always ask me, what do you do? How do you find them? Well, you know what? I just got off the phone with a student that told me, and he says, Fausto, I've been doing this for 7 years, and I'm not making money. I'm like, you're doing this for 7 years? How do you live? Well, let me just say I've been borrowing against it. I'm like, 7 years, why? And I asked him, I said, what the hell are you trading? What are you trading? He says, you know what I've been trading? I was taught to trade the S&P futures. I like the volatility, everything else. I'm like, can I be honest with you? I told him, I don't even trade the S&P futures. Why would I even trade the S&Ps and compete against the best traders in the world? There are 25,000 stocks out there. Why would you not trade? Why would you? Let me get to the biggest gainer of the day. ABIO. Should I refresh your memory? ABIO, you could see from here, at 8:30 in the morning is where we make most of our money. At 9 o'clock, we trade in pre-market. It ran from $6 to $13. When's the last time you saw the S&P futures do that? Never. Okay? There's more than that. HX, I know it's cheap. 65 cents to $1.60. I don't know. There's a lot of stocks out there, and they're all in the biggest percentage gainers and losers. TGI is another one that we had this morning that moved really nicely. 9 o'clock this morning ran from $10.20 all the way up to $11.60. By the way, does anybody have a Instagram or a YouTube channel, Instagram? Actually, if you go on my Instagram or if you go on my Twitter and Facebook, one of my students, I took a Photoshop and you could see the guy made 50 cents just trading the stock before the market even opened up. Great movie. Now, the question is, how do you find these stocks? You go through the big percentage gainers and losers. Remember one thing, I don't care what I trade. I'm just here to make money. How do we find these stocks and make money? You go through the big percentage gainers and losers. Hertz filed bankruptcy. Okay, it was up 109% yesterday. How do you not trade that stock? But I heard it's going bankrupt. Day traders don't care what we trade. We're not holding the position. We're looking to make a day's pay. That's all we're looking to do. GRNO up 170%. Hold on, let me get my little pointer right here so you guys can follow along. Look at all these stocks that are up. Even Macy's. Macy's up 28% in one day. Macy's, are you kidding me? Why would you not? So the thing is this, out of all those stocks, this is the $64,000 question. Which one is going to give me the least amount of risk with the high amount of reward? And how do we know they're going to continue to go higher or when they're going to peak? Now, that is what I'm about to show you. Finding the stocks to trade is not a problem. That's actually pretty easy to do. The question is, how do you know if they still continue to go up? So you need to follow the money. And by doing that, you need to have the right tools. Well, DraftKings, another one we traded. So when the biggest issue people have, before we continue, I just want you to understand, everyone is always focusing on the chart. Okay. The problem with the chart is the chart doesn't talk back to you. The chart is only showing you what's happening in the past. You know how you make money in the market? You need to see the future. Now, I have a very important question because what I'm about to show you right now is going to be quite disturbing, and you're going to realize the style and what is the theory behind Cyber Trading University. Now, my question to everybody is this. What is it worth to you if I'm able to show you right now where 70% of all the buyers and sellers are in the stock that you're trading? What is that worth to you? A lot? Oh, come on, it could be worth more than that. What's it worth? Think about that. Who are you? Who are you to say that you know where the stock is going? Who are you to say and look at this and say, oh, I know the stock's going up, I'm going down? No, you know what? It's not up to you. It's not up to you. It's up to where the institutions are, where the dominating brokerage firms are, where all those algorithms are kicking in. Okay? Remember, following the money is how you make money in trading. Okay? So, and by following the money, you just got to know where the buyers and sellers are. Now, does anybody here have something, have NASDAQ Book Viewer or ever heard of it? Anybody ever heard of this before? Or just give me a yes or no. No one has it? No one has Book Viewer? No one has level 3? No, no, no. Okay, when you guys are done with this meeting, on our homepage or our website, you can watch a video of me on NASDAQ. This is the last interview I had with NASDAQ. And I go into, it's like a 9-minute video, and you guys can watch it later in your free time about me going over it. Now, this is NASDAQ software, okay? I'm just going to give you the website address. This is NASDAQ software. And basically, this is how the NASDAQ market works. So forget any way you ever thought or what you were trained. I'm just going to show you exactly how the market actually works. And what you're about to see right here is going to make you realize that you've basically been trading blind. Now, what we have is NASDAQ is what we call a negotiated market. So everyone's negotiating what they want to buy the stock for and what they want to sell it for. We're looking at right now RCL, which is Royal Caribbean Cruise Lines. So you got buy orders and you got sell orders. And you got 3 columns. How many shares, the price, and how many orders are out there. Whoever wants to buy the stock for the most amount of money is up here on top, and it's all aggregated with everyone in the world. Whoever wants to buy for less is down at the bottom. So what you're looking at is a negotiated market. That's what NASDAQ is built on. This is the NASDAQ book. When you go to New York Stock Exchange, you see everybody trading, they're like, well, what are they looking at? They're looking at the book. This is the book. This is a live automation market. Now, question is, how do we use it? Okay. Well, I have a question for everyone again. How do stocks go up and down? Can everyone answer that question? How do stocks go up and down? I just said it several minutes ago. I said it several times. Could everyone just type in S&D? Just so I know that you're alive. Bill, I didn't hear from you. Mike, Cindy, Thomas, just write S&D. S&D. Buyers and sellers, S&D, doesn't matter. Okay. Now, this is the style of what we teach at Cyber Trading University. We're looking at Penn. Okay. Now, Penn was probably the best performer of the coronavirus stocks. This stock was at $4. It almost went right back to 40. It's up almost 1,000%. But that's not my concern. Okay. My concern is this. What is it? Why is it going up? And who's driving the stock up? How do we know it's not going to go any lower? Well, like everyone just said, how do stocks go up and go down? Supply and demand. Okay? Supply and demand. So we're looking at a chart. So Penn right here was trading at 27. at around 9:30 this morning. And you see how it came all the way down? It stopped right here at 25. Then it went back to 26, came back to 25. Why did the stock not go lower than 25? Can anybody answer that question? What prevented the stock from going down? Why didn't it go why didn't it go to 24 or 23? Why 25? If you can't answer this question, I don't care if you're a Forex trader, an option trader, a buyer for a store. If you can't answer this question, I'm going to give you my best advice. You should quit trading. You really should. There must have been a demand. There must have been buyers out there. Okay, so look, guess what? We're going to hop over here on the NASDAQ market. And we're going to look at it because we said there must have been a demand. So there must have been buyers. So we're going to click over here on the buyer side and you work your way down. So you got 200 shares. There's 4 different orders around the world, make up 200 shares at 25.43. Now, is that really a demand? That could. I mean, 200, 100. You know what? When you get all the way down to a price of right here, look at that. At $25, which is that right there, there was an 86,000 share buyer. Now, by the way, that's not one trade. That is made up of 63 different people around the world. Now, listen, my fifth grader figured this out on his own. If he could figure it out on his own, you could figure it out on your own. What do you think is going to happen when we get to 25? It's obviously there's a demand to buy it at 25. So you could sit there and you could analyze all you want. But when you're trying to figure out why did it stop here and then go down here, it's because of this guy. All right, let's look at a resistance levels. Norwegian Cruise Line, looking at this one. So here's a stock that goes from 1280 all the way up and stops at 1440. It literally runs from 1280 up to 1440. You're talking about almost $1.40 move. That's a huge profit in a matter of an hour. Imagine buying 1,000 shares of that stock at 1280 and selling it at 1420. Guess what? Do that every day. There's your $250,000 salary. Now you know why people love this business. But why did it stop at that price? You know what? My Fibonacci said it was going higher. My Bollinger Bands. Now listen, the reason why it stopped here is because there must have been a seller. Something prevented from going higher. Well, you can't see sellers on a chart. But when you go back to the book viewer and you look at the seller column, oh, what a coincidence. There's a 43,000 share seller, and there are 32 different people out there that are out there posting it, making up that 43,000 shares. I mean, you think about it. You think a 300 shares is going to make resistance? A 2,000 shares? 300? Nah, I definitely agree. Maybe that's 43,000. Fellow traders, how many of you here are monitoring where all those buyers and sellers are? Anybody here doing that right now? Anybody know where all the big block orders, where the high frequency trades are, where all the dark pools are? Anybody? Where the insiders are? And you know what, Thomas? That's okay. Sudden, that's okay. Don't worry about it. That's fine. But now is a time in your career that it's time to stop pretending where the mark is going, and now it's time to go out there and predict where it's going. All right, well, we're not done yet. We still got more to go. Let me just clear this out. By the way, for some of you that are logging late, if you missed it early, just kind of reiterate, what I'm showing you right now, nothing has changed when I started 25 years ago. Okay? Nothing has changed. The only thing that has changed is that the internet speed got faster, technology got better, and ticket charges were cheaper. When I started, I used to pay $20 a ticket in and out. I was down $40 on a trade, and I made money then. People can't even make money, with free tickets. So imagine how much I was already in the hole before I got into this business. Can a person access this data online? Of course you could. Of course you could. And guess what? Before you do that, I'm going to invite all of you to come into my trading room so I can at least show you how this works. By the way, I don't work for NASDAQ. I'm not here, want you to buy that platform. Only until you could really confirm and know how it works. So before we do anything, if you really want to know how the stock market works and how to find these stocks, I'm going to tell you in the next 20 minutes how to do that. But the first thing is first. You first have to be convinced that if you're not following the orders, you're trading blind. All right. Everybody ready to put their knowledge to the test of seeing how good of a trader you are? Let's go out there and look at this right here. Is this stock going up or down? Up or down? By the way, if you can't answer this question, once again, don't call me arrogant or whatever or rude. I'm just telling you, if you own best good, you shouldn't be trading. What do you guys think? Come on, everyone. Listen, only half the people are replying back. What are the rest of you doing? Watching TV? Come on. Be focused. Listen, you got money on the line. This is your future. Don't go out there and like I said, be engaged. So the answer is this. If you said the stock was going down, congratulations, you're right. Was that hard, by the way? Was that hard to figure out? No. It's almost like common sense, right? Okay. Now, here is again the $64,000 question. The question is this: when is it going to stop? When is it going to go? What do we need for the stock to go up? What do we need? Everybody. Buyers, demand, right? Right, Charles? Right? Right? Okay, Jeff, right? We need demand. The problem is this. A chart doesn't show you demand. It only tells you what happened in the past. It doesn't tell you what's happening in the future, okay? So the thing is this. How do we find the demand? There's only one place. We got to see where the orders are, which a lot of you are not doing. So we're looking at United Airlines, okay? What do you think in theory is going to happen when you come up to a 65,000 share buyer at 23.50? What do you think is going to happen? It's going to pop. It's going to bounce. Okay. It's going to go up. Now, let me ask you something. Did you need a Fibonacci to tell you that? Did you need a Bollinger Band to tell you that? Did you need a 200 moving average to tell you that? No. You just right away, I didn't even train you guys yet. And you're automatically assuming because there's a 64,000 shares looking to be bought, made up of 163 people out there, when this stock gets to 23.50, it's going to bounce. But on the chart, you said it was going to go down. So guess what? Congratulations, you're right. Stock came right down, knew it was going to test it, and after several hours, after an hour and a half, didn't want to break it, and it went right back up to 24.60. How simple is that? That is trading. Now, granted, I know we're looking at a PowerPoint. This is a screenshot. Wouldn't this look so much better if I could show you live in the market? And you're going to get that opportunity because I do practice everything I preach. Okay. And I want everybody here to call me out on it. So when we go out there, I'm going to show you this live in the market so you could finally realize that you're going to stop trading blind and start trading like a trader so you could finally make a career out of this. Are these limit orders? Yes, Jeff. Those are all limit orders. Can you do this on crypto? Yes, you can, actually. There is a platform out there that you can do this towards cryptos. All right. And futures, by the way, too. All right, looking at Uber, okay? Is Uber going up or down? Up, right? Absolutely up. Beautiful trend. Now, once again, what do we need to know to what do we need to prepare ourselves? Because remember, it's all about having a game plan. We need to see when the supply is going to run out and when there's going to be a demand. Listen, everybody's always looking to take a profit, right? We always look to take a profit. So, Uber, a 96,000 share seller is sitting at 36. Look at all these sellers out there. Two shares, two lousy stinking shares. 1,500, 100, 400, 200, 88, 888. 96,000 shares, I think, is a pretty substantial seller. So guess what? That will be my game plan. Without looking at any dinky chart, without looking at any dinky anything else, that is definitely where I'm going to be focused on. And guess what? Not only did it work it on support like we saw in the previous charts, but it also worked on resistance. And if you were not prepared to get out at 36, guess what? You don't want to be suckered to own the stock when it goes back down to 35. Because not only that, you threw away a huge profit. And I know how many times did you do that? Did you ever feel sometimes that you trade and you feel like somebody's watching you? It's like you always think like, why every time I buy a stock, every time I buy it, it goes down. And as soon as I sell it, it goes up, right? Jeff, all the time. Well, you know what? It's not that they're watching you. You're not watching them. That's the problem. So nobody can watch you. That's just a psychological thing that you're encountering. You're just not watching them. And now it's time to watch them. You got to remember, fellow traders, you always got to ask yourself this question: who really trained you? Who really trained you? And who endorses them? What brokerage firms endorse them? And have they been on NASDAQ? Have they done have they been presented by the New York Stock Exchange? Because remember, these exchanges, these brokerage firms want educated traders, because guess what? Do you think they're going to make money if you blow up your account and you're going to be out of the business? They don't want you out of business. They want you in the business. And that's why they have people like me, like I'm here with Anna on the Investment Expo to kind of educate you guys. It's time to stop pretending, and it's time to start trading like a true professional. And it all starts by following the money. Now, the big thing, now, by the way, what these things are called, we call them iceberg orders. I actually came up with that word. You're seeing a lot more schools using that word, but if you want to know where it originally came from, I actually came up with the word. I'm not going to, you can go on my YouTube channel. I did a whole presentation on it, how I came up with the word. It's all about the Titanic, the unsinkable ship, and it hit a iceberg. And, and the reason why is they were more depending what's on top of the water, not concerned about what's on the bottom of the water. So the big thing is this: you don't want to hit an iceberg. You just want to know where they are, so you know how to avoid them. And that's how you become very successful in trading. Now, the next question people always ask, remember I told you this earlier, but Fausto, I was in a webinar and this guy was out there, and an analyst, they told me, oh, you don't want to follow that stuff. That's fake orders. You know what I tell those people? I tell them, you know what? Why don't you come in my trading room? Let me find one of those so-called fake orders, and let me use your money. Let's execute it, and you tell me how fake it is. Okay? First of all, they're all real. All right? There's nothing fake about it. Now, how do we justify now listen, can they cancel an order? Of course they could. Can a guy get executed? Of course he could. How do we do that? We follow the time and sales. That's what we do. We follow time and sales. That's how we know where the stock is going. So how do we follow time and sales? That is the actual confirmation of transactions that take place. By the way, a chart gets its data from time and sales. You know how many people don't use time and sales? And the only excuse I get people that tell me, oh, I don't use it because it moves too fast. Well, the reason why it's moving too fast is you're probably trading a stock that's too fast. That's the reason why. Remember, why you're here? To make money. All right. APA. Stock was a big runner, nice little mover. Question is, where's resistance? Well, sellers down the bottom, you could see is a 44,000 share seller at 12.25. So in theory, and remember, that could be canceled, whatever it is. But right now, that's a real order. And my strategy right now is this, that when it gets to that price, that is a resistance levels. Now, unfortunately, it was only resistance for a very short period of time. Because if you look right here, that seller, which was here, eventually it broke it and it went to 14. 12 to 14. Could you imagine in less than 2 hours? Holy crap. 1,000 shares, that's a $2,000 profit. When's the last time you made that much? Well, how would you have known? Well, guess what? That seller got executed. How do we know that? Look here on the right-hand side. Look at all the greens, very little reds. 14,000, 2,000, 3,000, 5,000, 10,000, 3,000, 5,000. Look at all those orders. The guy was getting executed. You know how many times when we're trading and we see some orders out there and we're like, oh my God, there's a big seller and he's getting executed. Like, why would anybody want to buy that much orders? Who the hell am I supposed to judge him? There's a demand. And Deborah, that's absolutely right. That is an official breakout order. Everyone here wants to know what a breakout order. Well, guess what? You've just witnessed one. That is called a breakout order. Anybody have a problem with that? I know I don't. You gotta just follow the money. Now, listen, what happens when you get a lot of sales orders out there, right? Look at this. Norwegian Cruise Line. Red. Look at that stock. Went from 15 down to 14. You got to follow the money. As much as you know the orders are out there, if the orders are getting executed, this is trading 101, ladies and gentlemen. So, and you know, the thing is this, I always find that more people make trading more complicated than what it is. If you just follow the money, it'll just make everything just so much more simple for you. So, by the way, is anybody confused? I got a couple of questions that came across here. But when we checked, yeah, some guy, I don't know what your name is, says active trader, but when I check the tape, how do we know that the trend will continue in the direction and not reverse? Well, like anything else, fellow trader, see if these orders are still refreshing, if they update their quote, and to see if those orders get, if they're getting executed. Remember, once you think you know something about the stock market, you're going to lose. Okay, all you have to do is follow the orders. And everybody thinks that there's some secret sauce out there, or some secret weapon, or some great super software out there that's going to tell them how to do that. Now, listen, you have to trade the market, and the only way you're going to do that is follow the money. How do we access the book viewer? Okay, so like I told everybody here is going to get the opportunity to come join me in my trading room, and I'm going to show you this live in the market. Okay, because listen, I practice what I preach, and regardless if you're a forex trader, futures, options, remember what I told you guys earlier. If you're doing something for more than a month and you're not making money doing it, maybe it's time to change. Maybe it's time to do something different. Okay, but when it comes to this, nothing has changed in my 25 years other than technology got better, things got cheaper, and more people want to do it better than ever, because we're sick and tired, giving our money to some mutual fund that's showing us 2-3% a year. For what? You could make that in a day. You got to make it in a year. How are you going to live on that? How many of you got people here are retired and people living longer and want to make supplemental income? There's no better way of doing it than trading the market, but you got to know how to play the game. That's where it comes down to it. So the big thing is this. It's time to, I have a thing I call the KISS method. Just keep it super simple. Look at all those windows. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 windows. 6 windows. I had a student the other day. Actually, he wasn't a student. I told him I didn't want to train him because there's certain people you can just train, some people you can't. But I had a guy send me a photograph, and I almost fell off my chair. He had 12 monitors. 12 monitors. 12. You know what I told that guy? I said, first of all, I'm not the right fit for you. I can't teach you. He's like, why not? He says, listen, if you can't make money with one monitor, how in the hell are you gonna make money with 12? What are you landing the space shuttle? And he got offended by that. I'm like, well, listen, are you making money now? Listen, he goes, no. He goes, well, there's your answer. Anyone familiar with Tom Sosnoff, the founder of Thinkorswim from Tastyworks? Anybody know who Tom Sosnoff is? He does Tastyworks. He's got the TV show. He's the founder of Thinkorswim. Some of you do. A lot of you do. Okay. So he basically built Thinkorswim. He sold it for $1 gazillion to TD Ameritrade, and he's living the dream right now. So anyway, he's a good friend of mine, and he comes on Cybertrade University all the time. The reason why I bring him up is this: the first time I met Tom was about 15 years ago. It could have been 20 years ago now. The first day I met with him, I went to his office in Chicago, and here's one of the most well-known options traders, on the CBOE. And I'm looking at him, and he goes, I had a meeting with him because he wants me to teach, Thinkorswim wanted me to teach a lot of their options traders because a lot of them do day trading. So obviously he came to me to do that. And I asked him, I says, Tom, I said, I have all due respect. I said, can I ask you a dumb question? He goes, absolutely, Fausto, anything. I'm like, are you trading right now? And he's like, of course I am. On one monitor? He's like, yeah. He said, I would think that you would have at least like 2 or 3 of at least 5, with everything I heard of. And he's like, Fausto, let me tell you something. If you can't make money with one monitor, you can't make money with 7. So, and from there on in, I always pass that knowledge to everybody else. So hopefully that kind of sinks in a little bit. So anyway, guys, let's get back into it because I'm almost out of time here because I want to get every single one of you registered to come join me in my trading room. But I want to just leave you off with this. 1,000 shares of stock, 50 cents, $500 a day. You do 20 trades a day, 10,000 a month. Guess what? Nice, beautiful 6-figure salary. 50 lousy little stinking cents. That's all you have to make. Not $3, not $10, not $1, but if you make 50 cents. Who here can't use a nice 6-figure salary? All you got to do is make 50 cents. 2 trades at 25 cents. You know how many people out there don't even think of that? They're like, what the hell's 50 cents? Well, guess what? That is the average goal of what day traders focus on. And then this is why a lot of people are students of Cybertrade University, because we are endorsed by more brokerage firms than any school in the industry. Thinkorswim, Charles Schwab, Tastyworks, Metastock, TradeStation. They wouldn't have me come speak on their behalf if they thought I was teaching people how to lose money. And by the way, for anyone here, if you're going to learn from someone, make sure they're endorsed by somebody, because let me tell you, these brokerage firms, I cannot tell you the background checks they do on us. You think Charles Schwab will want me to speak on their behalf, knowing I'm teaching people how to lose money? Okay. So trust me, it's you don't have to do your homework. They did it for you. So this is what I'm looking to do, everyone. I want to invite everybody to come to the original trading room. Okay. And this is the original Cyber Group room. I started this room 25 years ago. And we start at 8 o'clock in the morning. We do commentary up to about 10:30, and then we trade all the way to 4 o'clock. Now, why I want to invite all of you guys here is because I want you to see us how we trade the market in pre-market, after-market, and during the market hours. I want you to judge us not on our winners, but judge us on our losers, okay? I want you to judge us and see how we take losses and how few we have and how we get out of them immediately. I want to show you how NASDAQ Book Viewer works. I want to show you how to use your platform. I want to make sure you know how trading really works, because I hate to tell you this, but trading is not for everybody. So why not go out there and see it live and see if other people make money doing it before you go risk your own? It's just a smart way of opening up a business. Now, all I'm asking for is $9. Now, the $9, listen, all it is telling me if you're a real person or not, okay? And that's all it is, $9, and I'll show you and I'll teach you how to use the platform. And I'll show you how to find stocks. I'll show you how we trade in pre-market. I'm going to show you basically what day trading is all about. And this is what you're going to get. You're going to get a day trading crash course. You're going to get 3 daily market meetings, a morning and afternoon watch list. And yes, you're going to be able to talk to somebody, your own personal education advisor. We're not going to sell you anything. Listen, if you want to move forward with us, great. If you don't worry about it. It's not for everybody. And you know what? After the 7 days, if you're not happy, I'll give you $9 back. It's 100% money back guarantee. Now, to register for that, I'm going to give you the link, and I'm going to throw a bonus in before I do. Here's the link. Now, as a bonus, the first 20 people that register right now, and there's over 200 people in here now because I can't talk to everybody, I will personally give you a free coaching class. Okay? Why? Think about this second. Why would Fausto Pugliese, world-renowned professional trader, talk to you? Because I'm looking to train people I could trade with. Listen, you're going to find out that trading, when you get in here, all your dreams might just be shattered because you're going to realize it might not be for you. And guess what? That's okay. That's okay. But then some of you are like, oh my God, this is the greatest thing. And I finally found somebody. And guess what? We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it, and we'll make a discussion, and we'll have a meeting about it, and we'll see if trading's for you. And you'll get that opportunity after you spend about 2-3 days in the room. So once you register, just register now. You're going to get everything that I have up here: the Cyber Group trading room, a day trading crash course, 3 daily market meetings, a personal education advisor to talk to, a live Q&A training session, and a coaching class with me, all for $9 lousy. Okay? Because let me tell you something. I don't make money at $9. You know where I make money? If I could teach you guys to be a 6-figure trader, I'll make a few thousand just on your call outs, being part of my team. But you first have to find out if trading is for you. Yes, we start at 8 o'clock in the morning Eastern time, because we actually make most of our money in pre-market. And if you're West Coast, I know it might be early for some of you. That's okay, because from 2:30 going into 4:30, trading, earnings announcements coming after the close, we trade going into those. So there's 2 really good timings during to trade. So don't worry, it can accommodate both of you. You feel that you're too old for it? Well, can I tell you something? You know what? 90% of the traders in my room are between the age of 50 and 90 years old. If I could teach a 90-year-old grandmother from Ontario, Canada, make 6 figures, I could teach you how to do it. As long as you're committed to it, you follow the diet, you'll do well. But guess what? You want to meet that grandma? You got to come to join the room for $9, and you'll get to meet her. It's what it all comes down to. Now, guys, I'm almost out of time here. I got to jump into, I got another webinar I got to start at 12 o'clock. Does anyone have any last minute questions? Because Ann is going to pass on the next presenter that's here. Because you got 3 great speakers that are coming up. And I want to come back and watch Norman Hallett. Norman Hallett's one of my favorite presenters. I always get a kick out of listening to him. He's probably the best psychologist. I always learn something. Listen, great traders never stop learning. So I got my event after that. I want to come back and listen in. You're more than welcome, everyone. More than happy. Can you access Book Viewer, or is it something through Thinkorswim? No, Thinkorswim does not have it. Book Viewer, you have to buy as a standalone through the exchange. It's only $15, so don't worry about it. It's dirt cheap. But before you spend the $15, spend the $9 and go from there. Okay. Is it equivalent program to Forex? Well, 70% of what we do is exactly the same like Forex. It's just, basically 30% is all psychological. It's just a different market. All right. Any other last minute questions? Remember, guys, you're all here to learn something. And what I've shown you is something that I was trained, 25 years ago. And let me tell you, when I first walked into that day trading room, and when I've learned from my mentor, I said, you know what? How does anybody have even a chance of competing against anybody who doesn't have these tools? And guess what? That explains why 80% of the people fail. By the way, one last thing before we go. Did you ever realize why brokerage firms are giving you free tickets today? Free tickets, because they're acting as a casino. They're taking the bet. They know you're going to lose. Could you imagine? They actually already know you're going to lose. So by giving you free tickets, that's going to make you trade more. The more you trade, the more you're going to lose, the more money they make. You know what? It's time to be on the losing side. It's time to be on the profitable side. And the only way you're going to do that, you got to know how to play the game. Well, Active Trade, thanks for signing up. And by the way, just to let you know, one bio asked me, when can I start? You know what? To activate your account, you're going to talk to somebody. They're going to tell you the lingo, what's going on. I would probably start. You could start tomorrow. Watch some of the videos over the weekend, so you know what you're getting yourself involved in. Learn the crash course. Maybe watch a couple of videos on YouTube. To kind of some of the courses that we have. So when you come in on Monday morning, you're ready to rock and roll and get to enjoy a full week of it. Okay. Yes, is this for NASDAQ only? No, it's also for ETFs. It's also for New York Stock Exchange, everything else. Any other questions? Did enough trading during the open market? You know what? I'll be honest with you. I'm usually done within the first 30 minutes of the open. The reason why I'm doing these events right now, because I'm pretty much done for the day. Some of them do have closed capture. Some of them do have closed capture, and we're actually fixing that right now on most of them. Yes. Okay. All right, everybody. Listen, I got to go. So I want to give you that opportunity for you guys to register. By the way, I'd like to thank Anna for having me here again. She works so hard, and it's a great event that she puts on. And all of you guys should be very thankful and very privileged that she's doing these events, finding great presenters to come in and speak and educate you guys how to trade. But listen, all we could do is we could only get you excited for so much within these presentations. It's up to you to come up and say, you know what? It's time to put the money where your mouth is and start putting that to reality. So let's go out there and all make money together, okay? Listen, the coronavirus is changing people's lives. It's people losing their jobs. To people might not have a job when they get back. Once all that money runs out, you know what? Who wants to deal with going on the train, worrying about dealing with the coronavirus and masks? Stay home, spend more time with your family, and let's just trade together and make money together. But remember one thing, you have to learn before you can earn. All right, guys? Thank you very much for everybody signing up. And for everybody else, thank you. And enjoy the rest of the other presenters that are coming up. Happy trading, everybody. And be safe.
Well, I got a lot of great information. Let me get my screen up here. We're going to be talking about how to predict market direction up to 5 days in advance. So I have some really great tools, tips, and techniques for our viewers today that is all actionable stuff. You'll be able to walk away from the session with some new tools and ideas to implement in your trading strategies, regardless of what market or time frame you trade in. So I'll go ahead and get right into it. We'll start with our quick disclaimer. Of course, trading securities and options do involve risk. Prior to buying or selling an option, an investor must receive a copy of characteristics and risks of standardized options. As always, investors do need a broker to trade securities and options and must meet suitability requirements. Of course, past results are not necessarily indicative of future performance. We will be going over some performance figures together today, including some live trade examples for my personal trading account. And just know that we don't guarantee that any viewer or a member or subscriber will mirror the performance of anything that we share. All right, so now that we've made the attorneys happy, here's the fun stuff. I'd first like to start out by talking about why the market is so difficult to trade. So many educators out there will jump right into why they have the best solution for you. And that's all well and good, but I think it's important to first address the underlying issue of why so many traders and investors fail in the long term. And really, it's nothing to blame yourself for. Really, a lot of it can be boiled down to math. And I like to use an analogy that's relatable to virtually anybody that has tried to, to attempt their hand at trading or investing using a deck of playing cards, because we're all familiar with the deck of cards. We know there's 52 cards in a deck. And when we consider the possible number of combinations that can occur in the market, it's a really great analogy to tie to a deck of playing cards, because in fact, if you shuffle a deck properly, there's a very high chance that it comes out in an arrangement that's never existed before. And most people don't realize that. And it's simply because there's an astronomically large number of possible combinations in a 52 card deck. In fact, there's more ways to arrange a deck of cards than there are total atoms on Earth. That's pretty hard to believe. But what it boils down to is a 69-digit number. So this is the total number of combinations in a 52 card deck. Now, if we think of that in the context of the markets, we can understand why the markets can be so difficult to predict, because you can imagine the number of possible combinations in the equities market when you look at all the fundamental and technical inputs that go into it. So predicting an outcome with any degree of accuracy is really extremely difficult, and is actually the one major factor that causes many systems and strategies to fail over the long term. And that's simply because they revolve around a set of very specific rules in an environment that's extremely dynamic, rapidly changing, and has an astronomically large number of possible combinations. However, there is a method that overcomes this drawback to the markets and works regardless of how the cards are dealt, and that's what I'm going to share with you guys today. So there's not a lot out there, to be honest, in my 20 years plus of trading the markets, that can overcome this randomness of the markets and the astronomically large number of possible combinations in terms of how price action presents itself and how we interact with the markets when we're attempting to trade them or invest in them. But I am going to show you one of the ways it definitely works. And the great news is it works across all markets, whether you trade stocks, futures, Forex, options, and all time frames. So here's what I'm going to give you guys today to make it easier. We're going to talk about how to use one indicator to predict markets in any time frame. And this can really work very well up to 5 days in advance, sometimes even more. And the good news is this indicator is available for free on virtually any trading platform. I'm going to show you guys the correct way to use the indicator to make money in the markets. The great news is there's really no guesswork involved. So it does tell you exactly when to buy and sell. And that's a big dilemma for most traders. Not so much getting in, but when do you get out? When do you take profits, or when do you cut your losses? We'll also talk about how to use the indicator to identify when momentum is shifting and a new trend is starting. We'll look at how to eliminate the majority of your losing trades. So stick with me, because I'm going to give you guys a really great tip and trick that I use in my own live personal trading account, as well as my hedge fund, to eliminate the majority of your losing trades. And that's pretty powerful, because every system and strategy has both winners and losers. It's inevitable you're going to have losing trades. We all know that. And so imagine if you could cut a large portion of those losers and magnify your winning trades. That really improves your overall consistency and profitability. We'll look at how to use the indicator to trade in any market, whether it's stocks, futures, Forex, or options. We'll look at some trade examples, and I always use live real money trade examples for my personal trading account. We don't look at any hypothetical woulda, coulda, shoulda type of stuff. So I'm going to share some real money examples with you guys. And then if you stay with me till the end, I'll show you how you can copy my success and get my trade signals. I use it to make a living in the markets. All right, so let's start off by imagining if you could have predicted every market sell-off in the history of the market. That's a bold claim, and certainly on every trader and investor's wish list, right? We all wish we could do that. That's one of the biggest fears that we all face as traders and investors is when is the next sell-off? We obviously just had a major one with the Corona crash. But it really is one of those things that, regardless of your market or strategy or time frame that you trade in, if you're not prepared, it can really do a lot of damage. So we're going to talk about how to overcome that in our session today. And in fact, the one indicator that we're going to focus on predicted the recent Corona crash on February 21st. It also predicted all 4 corrections in 2018, if you guys were trading a couple years ago. It predicted the flash crash of 2015 an entire day before it happened. It also predicted the 10% correction in October 2014, and it did so 2 weeks before that sell-off occurred. It predicted the crash in July of 2011, going back nearly a decade, several days before bears began driving prices down, and it predicted the major sell-off in 2008 when the market lost more than half its value. That was the housing crisis that we experienced. If you guys were trading over a decade ago, you'll remember this one very well because it was a very severe, dramatic sell-off. But the good news is these are all predictable using the momentum indicator that we're going to be talking about today. So I like to use 2018 as a case study. Reason being is it was a bit of an unusual year, and we often see kind of an unusual number of corrections or sell-offs towards the end of a bull market. So when a bull market's beginning to lose steam, it's not unusual that we'll see kind of a choppy year like we did in 2018. And so this is a chart of the S&P 500, the SPX. It's a daily chart that encompasses the entire year of 2018. And in this particular year, we had 4 major corrections, as I mentioned. So the first was in the January, February timeframe earlier in the year. We had topped out around 2,900 on the S&P and sold off significantly into the 200-day moving average over the course of a couple of weeks. And then we go into this sort of sideways ranging price action that you see there in February into March until we see another major correction and reversion into the 200-day moving average, this time topping out around 2,800 on the S&P. And then we go into this really nice, steady, well-defined uptrend in the middle part of the year and hit an all-time high in the market once again at 2940.91 there in September. And then October hits and we get another major correction, this time selling off below the 200-day moving average. So as you can see, this can really test our patience as traders and investors. And this really scared a lot of people out of the market or did some significant damage to trading accounts. In fact, I this year attended many conferences where I was a keynote speaker and had the opportunity to talk to many traders and investors that were really hurt badly this particular year by these corrections. And then the last one in December was really bad. In fact, it almost put us in the bear market territory, which is defined as a peak to trough sell-off of 20% or more. So we didn't quite get there, but we did top out around 2,800 on the S&P and sold off down near 2,350 before rebounding. So this was a really big correction. So we're going to come back to these in a minute and talk about how we can actually prepare ourselves for these sell-offs and protect our capital by going to cash or implementing a strategy that will allow us to profit on a move to the downside. All right, so we'll get to that here in just a minute. A little bit about myself, if you guys have not attended one of my presentations in the past. I do have 20 years of experience trading the stock options and futures markets. I received professional trading at Morgan Stanley under the traders at the trade desk there at that brokerage firm. And I also founded the Altos Trading Group and I'm currently serve as the chief investment strategist at Altos Trading. We have over 30,000 members in over 100 countries across the globe. I'm also the founder and fund manager at Altos Capital, so I do run a hedge fund. And I'm also the founder and creator of the Trade Trend Signal software, which I'll be talking to you guys a bit about today. And in fact, this is a tool that I use in my own trading to make a living in the markets. And it's also a tool that I use in my hedge fund. And we are currently beating the S&P quite significantly this year, despite the volatility and major sell-off. So by the end of our session, you're going to discover how you can use one simple indicator to accurately predict whether the market is likely to go up or down over the next few days or even weeks. How powerful is that? And better yet, you can have access to this information up to 5 days in advance, right? And sometimes even more, and I'll show you that here in a little bit. And the beauty is, regardless of what market you're trading, stocks, futures, Forex, options, this works for any market. And it works because of the principles behind it, which I'll share with you in just a minute. But regardless of whether you're just getting started, and I know we have some newbies on with us today, or you're a seasoned pro and you've been trading for years or decades, This is really must-have information to make money in the markets. There's no question, okay? And I've been there, done that with pretty much everything. I've tried every system, strategy, tip, trick, technique that's out there, and there's only really a few fundamental basically approaches or techniques that work in the markets. Most of them do not work. And unfortunately for somebody seeking education and attempting to become successful at trading or investing, there's a lot of bad stuff to weed through to get to the good stuff. But I promise you this does work very well. It's worked in decades into the past, and we'll look at some case studies of that, and we'll continue to work into the future as long as the markets exist. So let's start out by discovering why momentum is so vital to trading success. And you'll see here in just a minute that momentum is really behind all of my strategies and all of my systems that I use in my approach to the market. And you'll see why that's so important. I'm going to show you guys how to read momentum shifts and continuations, and I promise this will completely turn your trading around when you can understand this technique. And we'll talk about how to use momentum as a leading indicator, not a lagging indicator. And that's key because we all know that most indicators are lagging, but we'll look at how momentum in certain, in particular momentum indicators, can actually give us leading information to tell us where the market is likely to go in the near term. And we'll talk about how momentum can predict those market moves in advance. We'll also look at how to get your hands on a tool that will change your trading forever. And I say that because it's a tool, again, that I use in my own trading account to make a living in the markets and in my hedge fund. And it's made a big difference for myself and my investors. So I want us to start out by imagining a bowling ball. So a bowling ball may seem like a bit of an odd thing to talk about on a presentation that is about trading and investing, but it's an important analogy and concept to comprehend in the context of the broader markets. And the reason is based in momentum. So I like to share this analogy because we all know, whether we bowled at some point in the past or not, what happens when we roll a ball down the lane. It's going to continue to roll until it reaches the end of the lane. Whether you get a strike and hit the pens or it goes in the gutter, the ball will continue rolling until it hits the end of the lane. Okay, that's very predictable, right? Now, there are some nuances that are less predictable. How many pins will you knock down? Will it be a gutter ball? There are some variables there. But the important thing is that we know and understand the predictability of the movement. And this is what's referred to in physics as linear momentum. So basically it's the property or tendency of a moving object to continue moving until something stops it, right? And that's basically in physics, the mass of the object multiplied by its velocity. And we can really apply the same formula to the markets because linear momentum actually occurs on any price chart that you look at in any time frame. So whether you're looking at Apple stock, for instance, in a 1 hour time frame, there's going to be linear momentum on that chart. Or maybe you're looking at a chart of the SPY on a weekly time frame. Okay, there's linear momentum on that chart. And we need to understand this principle in order to be able to understand where the market is going. So let's keep this analogy in mind because it will help us understand how linear momentum applies to the markets. Now, the one real difference here is the catalyst. So with a bowling ball, it's the force of our arm that sets the object in motion and creates the momentum. In the markets, the catalyst is supply and demand and buying and selling pressure. But again, the principle is the same. But here's why it's so important in trading. We have the lagging component of momentum. So basically, we use inputs from an indicator, for instance, that use past price data to show us where the momentum has been and where it may likely be headed. So that's the lagging component. But once the momentum is set in place, right? So the lagging is when you wind the bowling ball back and begin to release it from your fingertips. That part is basically in the past. Once the ball's released from your fingertips and starts to move forward, that's the forward momentum, and that's the predictable component of linear momentum. All right, so that's what I want you guys to comprehend, and the analogy that we're going to tie into the markets in terms of predicting forward momentum. So basically, when we're using an indicator to interpret the forward momentum, A value above 0 indicates that prices are going to go up, and a value below 0 indicates prices are likely to go down. And what this means is that when we use this information correctly, we can actually use it to pinpoint areas where trend reversals are highly likely to occur, okay? So we are going to focus on some case studies of market crashes, and I like to use those because, of course, markets virtually always sell off more dramatically than they rise. You can lose months or even years of price appreciation in a market in a matter of days or weeks. But the good news is it doesn't just work for crashes, it works in both directions, even on the way up, because it measures the rate of not just the fall in securities prices, but also the rise in prices. And in fact, it can do a great job pinpointing bottoms in markets, okay? And again, it works with any market in any time frame. This happens to be a chart of the SPY in the middle of the screen, where we had a sell-off on the left side of the chart, the left half of the chart, and the momentum indicator that we're going to look at here in a minute pinpointed this turning point in the SPY near the bottom of the sell-off at the 200-day moving average, and then caught the trend back to the upside. So you see the forward-looking predictability of this shift in momentum in the markets. That's powerful stuff. And it works for many different securities, timeframes, you name it. And we're going to look at some examples here in a second. So just to give a basic quick background on momentum indicators, probably many of you on with us today have used some, if not all of these at some point in your trading. They all have their strengths and weaknesses. And I would venture to say there's probably a couple dozen momentum indicators available on today's retail trading platforms. So we're going to look at 4 of the more commonly used ones. But they all, again, have their strengths and weaknesses. It really comes down to how do we use the data that these momentum indicators give us and apply them in a live environment. That's where things can become challenging, but I'm going to help you with that today. So the first one is the average directional movement index. This one's often referred to as the ADX indicator, and basically what it is it's an average of expanding price range values, okay? And there are a number of ways we can use this indicator. But it's at its most fundamental kind of basis is a momentum indicator. So it judges momentum based on average expanding price range. The second one is the commodity channel index. This is a very common one, often referred to as the CCI. And it's been around a long time. It measures the relation between price and normal deviations from a moving average. Okay, so both of these, the ADX and the CCI, are fairly good, but they don't give us a whole lot of forward-looking information. They're fairly lagging. The third one is the MACD, another common one. Many of you have probably heard or used at some point, and it's quite a versatile momentum indicator because it doesn't just reveal momentum, but it also reveals strength, direction, and duration of a trend in a security's price. And then last but not least is the relative strength index, or the RSI. This is often used as an overbought, oversold oscillator, but really, again, it is fundamentally a momentum indicator, and it measures the historical momentum strength or weakness of a security. All right, so again, all of these have their strengths and weaknesses, but we're going to focus in on one of these in particular that does an incredible job in terms of predictive value in predicting forward-looking momentum, and that's the MACD, okay? So the MACD stands for Moving Average Convergence Divergence, and we're going to talk about how to use this indicator to predict market moves, okay? So if you're not familiar with it, haven't used it, or maybe you have, and maybe you're not using it correctly, but we're going to talk about that on our session. You're going to walk away today with a really cool tool that will help you predict market moves, okay? So this one's been around for a long time. It was actually developed back in the 70s by Gerald Appel. So it's been, around 50 plus years, and it reveals, like I mentioned a minute ago, changes in not only the momentum, but strength, direction, and duration of a trend in a security's price. And one of the powerful ways to use this indicator to predict forward-looking momentum is with the MACD cross. So basically with a MACD cross, a buy signal is generated when the MACD line crosses above the signal line, and a sell signal is generated when the MACD line crosses below the signal line. So sounds fairly straightforward and simple, right? Well, it can be when we look back and, on the indicator in the past. This can become a challenge when we're looking forward and trying to use it in a live environment, and that's what I'm going to help you guys with today. But let's look at it in the past in terms of that 2018 period where we saw the four major market corrections that year. And this time I've got the MACD plotted at the bottom of the chart so we can look at the crosses in the context of predicting those corrections. So this first one in January and February, kind of towards the end of January into February, occurred pretty close to the top of that correction where we had topped out around 2,900 on the S&P. And you can see, by the way, the crosses here, where they occur relative to the zero line, the slope of the cross, the magnitude of the cross, whether the lines are converging or diverging are significant. And although we don't have time to get into the nuances of that today, just know that that is significant. So I'll kind of comment on where these occurred and whatnot. But right now, I just want you guys to focus on the cross because that is the buy or the sell signal. So there's the sell. We get the line cross. And by the way, guys, I use the default settings on the MACD. So I don't do any sort of manipulation of the settings or anything. I just use the standard default settings that would come up on your platform. So the second one in March occurred closer to the zero line, about the same magnitude and divergence on the cross there. This one didn't quite get us a warning at the top of, or the peak of the sell-off, but still got us a pretty good warning about 4 or 5 days into that sell-off, and warned us, now might be a good time to go to cash, get out of the market, or implement a bearish strategy to make money on the sell-off. All right, and then we see after that nice steady uptrend in the middle part of the year, that third correction in October, and this cross was much more difficult to read, even looking back on the indicator, where things tend to be easier to identify. But the lines were obviously very close together, horizontal and converging, but the cross did give us a very significant warning of about a week before this major correction in October. And then lastly, this one in December, the cross occurred below the zero line with about the same slope and severity that we saw in the two corrections from earlier in the year. And although it didn't get it at the peak, it did do a pretty good job at warning us before the market really tanked down into the 2350 level on the S&P. All right, so you can see how these crosses can help give us warning before a sell-off, right? And of course, the indicator it's not, it's certainly not a crystal ball, and it doesn't know if some sort of a geopolitical event or a pandemic like we're in now or anything of that nature is coming. That's not the point. It obviously can't know that. What it does know is when momentum is weakening in the market. And if one of those events does occur, the market is going to be more primed for a sell-off. And conversely, if we're at the end of a sell-off and the momentum is beginning to shift back to the upside, that's what it can detect. Okay, so that's what I want you guys to understand. Now, as you saw in that last chart, some of the crosses were fairly easy to see. Some of them were more difficult. But the problem with the line cross is it can be confusing when we're trying to implement it in a live trading environment. So if we're actually trying to use this to make a trading decision, that can become a bit tricky and challenging. And as you can see here in that third correction of 2018, where the lines were horizontal, converging, and close together, that would have been very difficult to make a trading decision on. So I'm going to give you guys something easier to read and implement in a live environment, right? And that's key. If you want to be successful, it's got to be something that's easy to use and implement. So this is called the MACD histogram. The histogram is basically giving us the same information as the MACD lines. And again, I use the same default settings, the 12, 26, 9 defaults that would be probably most likely defaulted in your trading platform or charting platform. And the histogram basically gives us the same information, but in an easier to read format. So when the histogram's red, it's giving us a sell signal when it goes from green to red. And then when it shifts back from red to green, it gives us a buy signal. So you can see how much easier that is to see and interpret. Now I'm going to give you guys another trick to incorporate with the MACD histogram. And then we are going to look at this on a chart as well. All right. And then I'll give you guys the little trick I used to weed out any false signals, because all indicators do give false signals when market conditions aren't conducive to the indicator. Okay, so they can work some of the time, or maybe even a lot of the time, but there's always going to be a period of time where market conditions are not conducive and the indicator fails you. And I'm going to give you guys a little trick in terms of a type of order that I use to combat that with any indicator, in fact, not just this MACD momentum indicator. All right, so let's look at this on a chart first. This is a daily chart of MOMO, MOMO, and now I've got the MACD histogram plotted at the bottom of the chart. And you can see on the left side of the chart, the histogram goes from red to green. That gives us the buy signal telling us now's the time to go long or implement a bullish strategy to take advantage of appreciation in the share price. And you can see that nice uptrend that it goes into until right there around the middle of the chart, the histogram again shifts from green to red, giving us a sell signal, telling us now's a good time to scale out of the position, go to cash, take profits on our trade until it's safe to get back into the stock. And that happens a few days later when the histogram again shifts from red to green. We get the buy signal again and a nice continuation of the uptrend in the stock. And then we get another shift from green to red. And we can see there over the course of a few days, there was a fairly significant sell-off in the stock from around $35 a share down to $30 a share. And that would have been a good time to take profits on that shift in the histogram, or implement a bearish strategy to make some money over the course of the few days as the stock was selling off. And then when the histogram goes from red to green, we get a notification that it's now safe to get back into the stock as the uptrend continues. Okay, so you can see the power behind the MACD histogram and how much easier it is to incorporate into a trading strategy versus the lines. Now, I'm going to give you another trick that I use that I promised you to use in conjunction with this. And again, this can actually be used with any indicator to help weed out bad trades, eliminate a lot of your bad trades. And that's by using a certain type of order called a buy stop or a sell stop order. So instead of using a limit or a market order on this signal, what we do is when the histogram shifts, so when it goes, for instance, from red to green and gives us a buy signal, we put a buy stop order above the candle where the histogram shifts from red to green. Or if we're going to short the market or cover our trade as if we're long the market and get out, we would use a sell stop order below the low of the candle on the shift from green to red, okay? So we're basically using a buy stop to enter long trades and a sell stop to enter short trades or get out of a long trade. And what that does is if there's not momentum follow through, in other words, if it gives you a false signal, it helps filter that out and improve the consistency, increase profitability of the indicator. Okay, so we're only getting in on a follow through of the momentum. And if that doesn't occur, we're simply not in the trade. So momentum indicators can be great, right? We've looked at the MACD and its predictive qualities. It can be very accurate and powerful, but the problem is they have to be used correctly. And there's a lot of ways to use these indicators. Obviously, if they were easy to use and they worked correctly every time, we'd all be wildly successful traders. And unfortunately, that's simply not the case. Very few traders make it long term. I'm one of the few that have made it long term. I make a living in the markets and I run a successful hedge fund. And the way that I've been able to do that is through decades of putting my hard-earned money at risk in the market and figuring out what works and what doesn't. And I've actually spent over a decade and thousands of hours trying to figure out which indicators to use, when to use them, and how to use them most effectively, okay? And I can tell you that the vast majority of them do not work. They look great on a chart when you look at the past data, but when you try to implement them in a live trading environment, the vast majority of them do not work very well. And that's why most traders end up failing, because they're using faulty tools. But once I got the settings dialed in and I had to formulate them to work on all time frames and duplicate the success across all markets, and that was the real challenge, but I was able to do it in an adaptable algorithmic formula that actually has predictive qualities and is not lagging. So again, the problem with momentum indicators alone is they're either hard to read, and I gave you a solution to that today with the MACD, using the MACD histogram, but often they can give you false readings or lagging signals, and I gave you a solution to that using a buy stop or a sell stop order to confirm the momentum before you get in, rather than using a limit order or market order. But oftentimes they'll even stop working when you need them the most, because market conditions are constantly changing. They're dynamic, right? Like we talked about earlier on. but I have developed a highly effective market adaptive algorithm using a unique combination of momentum indicators and proprietary settings called trade trend. And when you formulate the right combination of momentum indicators and combine them with volatility studies and price action setups, you can actually do a lot better than the MACD. And I'm going to show you that. Okay. So trade trend is a signal software that doesn't only tell you when to get in, it tells you when to get in ahead of time. There's not any other indicator out there that I'm aware of that tells you ahead of time when to get into the market. And it does it up to 3 candles in advance. So whether you're trading off a daily chart and you want to know up to 3 days in advance whether the market is likely to go up or down, or you're trading intraday off a 5-minute chart and you want to know up to 15 minutes in advance whether the market is likely to go up or down, or an hourly chart and you want to know up to 3 hours in advance whether the market is likely to go up or down, it doesn't matter what time frame you trade in, it will give you up to 3 candles of advance notice of which way the market is likely going, okay? And the beauty is it lets you get in before the MACD signal using a proprietary blend of momentum indicators that can predict short-term and long-term trends with astounding accuracy in any market, whether you're trading stocks, futures, Forex, and you can even screen for trades to find buy and sell opportunities in any time frame. So whether you're an intraday trader or a longer-term investor. And you can use it to backtest to see results before you even place a trade. And we have many traders that trade options, including myself, that use it to more accurately pinpoint shifts in momentum and trends to pick their options trades. And ultimately, you can trade like a pro without any guesswork involved because it gives you the exact entry price up to 3 candles in advance. It tells you where to trail your stop, and it tells you when to get out. There's no guesswork. And here's the real money proof of that. These are live screenshots from my personal TD Ameritrade real money brokerage account using the trade trend indicator in the futures market, simply off of daily charts, only 1 contract per trade, nothing crazy here. But using the indicator, I was able to make over $13,700 profit in a single day with virtually no losses, only 1 loss on the screen, as you can see there. And on another day, was able to make over $3,600 in profit with only a couple small losses because Trade Trend does an incredible job at containing losers, keeping the bad trades to a minimum and letting the profits run on the good trades. And here's another one, another day where I made over $4,400 in a single day, just trading 1 contract off the daily charts, no crazy day trading or anything like that here. I spent simply 10 to 15 minutes a day to make some incredible profits using the indicator. Now I mentioned it gets you in before the MACD the vast majority of the time. Here's an example, and I'm going to put this in dollar terms for you options traders out there. The MACD told us to get in on this chart of the SPY right here in the context of this broader uptrend. But our trade trend members were actually able to get in over a week earlier near the bottom of that little basically correction in the context of the broader uptrend that you see there as the price reverted into the 50-day moving average. All right. Now, if you'd gotten out when the histogram shifted back from green to red, telling us that it was time to sell, and you had bought 10 at the money call contracts on the MACD, you would have made a decent little profit of $335 before commissions and fees. But our trade trend members who had bought 10 at the money call contracts on that same momentum signal, but a week before the MACD, were able to make nearly $5,000. So that's the power of trade trend and getting in before the MACD signal. Here's another example on a stock that I love to trade, Micron. There's the warning candle, okay? This is the buy warning. This is simply telling us it's time to enter your buy stop order. It's not telling us to get into the market yet. We only get in when the stock hits our buy stop orders. It did 3 days later. Remember, we knew 3 days in advance here where we were going to enter our price and our order, our buy stop order, and where we were going to get into the market. And that was right around $49 a share. The trade triggered 3 days later. We got out around $55 a share for a $6 per share gain, or $6,000 in profit per 1,000 shares traded in only 3 weeks. That's the predictive power of trade trend. And that was 1 trade on Micron. Here's 5 consecutive trades that I selected for that last 3 months in 2018 that I shared with you, where there were 2 major corrections, because people always ask, well, how does it do in choppy market conditions or when the market's selling off? Well, here's how it did for Micron in October through December of 2018, over $13,500 in profit on 1,000 shares traded and only 5 trades with only one little loser in there. And if you're trading options and buying calls or puts off the signals, you could have put up a lot less capital on those trades and profited nearly $7,000 on 10 contracts traded, which is one little loser in that bunch. All right, now everyone's wondering what happened during the recent COVID-19 market crash. Well, there's the sell warning. Trade Trend predicted it the day after the all-time high that we've ever seen in the market on February 20th. All right, there's the sell warning. Now, this isn't telling us to sell or go short or get out yet. It's simply telling us where we're going to enter our price, our sell stop order if the market were to sell off. And it did that at the all-time high. And in fact, it did it one day before the MACD, before the market tanked. So it got us in or short or out of the market if we're going to cash on the 22nd. The MACD didn't flash its warning signal till the following day, and that was significant because Trade Trend caught that 100-point gap in the S&P from 3,300 down to 3,200 that you see there on the left side of the chart. The MACD missed it. Okay, so that's a big chunk of profit it would have missed. By the way, if you see at the bottom of the chart there, you see that Trade Trend also caught the buy at the very bottom there, the green arrow and the subsequent confirmed trigger on the next day. Now on the sell signal, going back to the sell signal, if you had bought 10 at the money put contracts on the SPX on this one sell signal, the profit on a $4,760 investment on, sorry, one contract, one put contract in the SPX would have profited over $100,000. All right, so this is what's possible in market corrections and sell-offs that we see like this. Again, this is everybody's biggest fear, but it's it's really what I look forward to the most in the market because I'm prepared for these sell-offs and I make a lot of money during these sell-offs. In fact, I made $40,000 in my personal trading account in the recent Corona crash, simply with the warning signal that I received from Trade Trend. All right, so this can work in any market, any time frame, any size account, regardless if you're just starting out with a smaller account, you're trading a large account, and you want to protect your capital, because Trade Trend provides predictive buy and sell signals up to 3 candles in advance, not at the time that you have to make a decision, but it actually warns you up to 3 candles in advance before the move occurs, okay? And it has predicted every market crash in the history of the market with 100% accuracy. That is powerful, and you can verify it for yourself because the signals never repaint or get removed from the chart. Once they print, they're on there, and you can go back and verify yourself all the way back to the Great Depression, every market correction, bear market, market crash, market sell-off. Here's a few examples. The flash crash, May of 2010, there's the sell warning. We're going back a decade here, there's the crash. The flash crash, the more recent one in 2015 on August 24th, there's the sell warning near the top, and there's the sell-off. All right, we'll go back even further, over a decade to the 2008 housing crash. There's the sell warning, there's the crash. We get 3 sell signals all the way down, and even a nice buy signal off the bottom. We're gonna go back now 2 decades. We're going back 20 years to the dot-com bubble. There's the sell warning, there's the crash, okay? That's how incredible this algorithm is at predicting market crashes. Now, virtually every system will produce winning trades, right? The problem is they don't keep you out of the market when conditions are not favorable, and you end up giving up your profits. Any money that you've made on your winning trades, you end up giving those back, okay? That's what happens to most people until now, all right? And again, this is real live money proof of that. These are real money screenshots from my TD Ameritrade brokerage account using the Thinkorswim, the Trade Trend indicator on my Thinkorswim platform, okay? And I'll show you here in a minute. It's available on multiple platforms if you guys want to try it out today. So here's my promise to you. I want you guys to have days just like these, and I'm going to give you guys access to a tool that lets you copy my trades, okay? This is a one-time opportunity. So for being a part of the InvestorExpos conference today, I want you guys to join me to discover how I make consistent income in the markets day after day and week after week. And I'm going to reveal every one of my special techniques and indicators that make profits like this possible. And I don't hold anything back, guys. I'm going to give you all my tools. So you get 12 months of Trade Trend for stocks, futures, and Forex. You get exact entry and exit signals. You get live interactive trade sessions. I hold these 2 to 3 times a month, guys, and I show you how I use the Trade Trend indicator in my hedge fund and my own personal trading account. You guys also get members area access for replays and recorded training sessions. So if you can't attend any of the sessions, not to worry, they're all posted in our members forum. You get full support and personal coaching from me. I'm the one that holds all the live trade sessions, and you can email me anytime to ask any questions that you have. We also teach trade adjustments to fix losing trades. We have a lot of trade adjustment techniques in our arsenal that we use to fix losing option trades, and we share those with you guys in all of our training. I also give you a list of my most profitable tickers that I trade on our live sessions. So again, here's everything you get with the trade trend signal package. It gets you in before the MACD. It works with any time frame and any market. It allows you to supercharge your option strategies and trade without any guesswork. And ultimately allows you to cut the learning curve and trade like a pro. And you can start as early as tomorrow, guys. So I want you to ask yourself, if you're able to avoid the next major market crash and even make money from it, how much would that be worth to you? There's a really strong possibility we'll see a retest of the lows we saw back in March. We could see a double bottom, and I want you guys to be prepared for that if and when it occurs. If you're able to trade the next market sell-off like a professional, how much would that be worth to you, right? I don't want you guys to lose money in these types of black swan events. I want you to be prepared for them, okay? None of us can predict the future, but we can certainly be prepared. And finally, if you had an experienced coach guide you through the next downturn, how much would that be worth to you? Well, here's everything you get with the package and for joining us today. The 12 months of trade trend access, that's a $14.99 value. The live trade sessions, a $550 value. The personal coaching that you receive from me is a $19.97 value. You also get invitation only access to our Facebook group for a $199 value. We teach you how to fix losing options trades. We have dozens of adjustment techniques that we use to fix losing options trades, and we'll teach you those for a $900 value. But ultimately, you learn to trade any market in any time frame with consistency, and that's really priceless. I'm also going to throw in a couple bonuses. Number one, you'll get my course, How to Win 97% of Your Options Trades. I have over 10,000 students with over 4,000 five-star reviews in my course. It's a $595 value. You'll get access to that, as well as bonus number two, my ebook, How to Create Risk-Free Trades. This is a really cool technique that I teach and use in my own trading account and in my hedge fund. That's a $97 value. We're going to throw that in if you're one of the lucky ones to join us today. So this package is valued at over $5,000, and we have decided to slash the price and take over 80% off today for the InvestorExpos event. We're offering this package at only $997. You get everything that you see on your screen. We are going to limit it today to 20 seats. So if you're one of the lucky 20 to join, you get everything you see on your screen as well as the two bonuses. And we do limit it because we can only take on so many new members. We do provide exceptional customer service and support, and we really strive to make you guys successful traders, so we don't just accept unlimited number of seats to anything that we offer. So we are limiting this to 20 seats. If you want to take advantage of it today, you can go to tradetrendlive.com and join us and see how powerful the trade trend signal software is. And if you're wondering what it's available on, we have it available on multiple platforms, including Wealth Charts, TradingView. These are both online web-based charting platforms, as well as Metastock, NinjaTrader, Thinkorswim, and TradeStation. And we're actually about to launch a web-based version right off of our own website as well, and we'll alert you when that's available. But it is available on many trading platforms who've made it very accessible to anybody that wants to use it. And again, these are the bonuses that I'm throwing in. My course, How to Win 97% of Your Options Trades. And bonus number two is my ebook, How to Create Risk-Free Trades and Let Your Profits Run with Little or No Risk. All right, so I'm running a little bit over here. I got a bit of a late start, so I'm gonna kind of speed through some of the remaining portion of the presentation so I can leave a couple minutes to answer questions. But these are some testimonials of some of our trade trend members who use it. I'm just going to pick one out of here real quick to highlight because it's a recent one from our one of our trade trend users, Brian, who was struggling last year and was actually down at one point $42,000. And he began using trade trend to trade the futures market. And he's happy to report he's now net positive over $47,000 this year. Okay, so he just sent me this testimonial a few weeks ago, and I was really happy to see this because I knew that Brian had been struggling last year. And in fact, the system generated over $90,000 of profits for him in 3 months. Okay, how great is that? There's not a lot of testimonials out there like that, guys, and this is really the power behind trade trend and what's possible. And he said the system itself would have actually generated even higher returns if not for some mistakes he made on his part. And that's fine. You know, we all make mistakes, but he was able to overcome those and make a lot of money in the market. And he says he's thankful to the good Lord for leading him to our system. All right, guys, It only takes one winning trade to pay for your membership to my Trade Trend Mastermind group, but really being prepared for the next market correction is priceless. And making money on the rebound, as Trade Trend has allowed our Trade Trend users to do, is priceless as well. Okay, so you can go to Trade Trend Live, and I'm going to throw in a guarantee. If you don't make money in the first 90 days, I'm going to give you guys $1,000 to spend on any of our highly acclaimed online trading courses and trade alert services. That's how confident I am in the trade trend signals. Again, because I use them in my own personal trading account and in my hedge fund. And I'm confident they can work well for you guys also. And to be frank, no one's ever been able to take us up on this guarantee because we've never had somebody come to us after 90 days that have used the signals consistently and not been able to be successful. All right, so I'm going to leave a little bit of time here for a couple questions. Because of the limited time, if I don't get to your question, I apologize. Go ahead and put those in the questions and chat box. And if I don't answer them, please send us an email at support@altostrading.com, and we'll do our best to get back to you today with any answers to those questions, okay? So again, here's everything you get. We are limited to 20 seats. It looks like we filled up a good chunk of those already. So welcome, first of all, to everybody who's already joined. If you are on the fence or have any questions, please type those in to the chat box or the Q&A, and I'll start to answer those questions. Again, you can go to Trade Trend Live to go ahead and get started with us. So let's see here. Let me go ahead and expand the Q&A. We're getting a question, is this indicator good for day trading stocks? Yeah, good question. Again, it does work in any time frame. It's a momentum indicator that adapts to market conditions. So the beauty is it's actually great, and we have many members who use it to day trade. Although I don't day trade personally, I'm more of a swing trader. We have a lot of members that use it to day trade, and the beauty is it gives you that 3-candle advanced warning. So our day traders are very successful with it because they don't have to pounce on with a limit or a market order on the spur of the moment. They know up to 3 candles in advance. So for instance, if you're day trading off of a 5-minute chart, they know up to 15 minutes in advance what price they're going to enter on the momentum direction. So if they're going long, they know up to 15 minutes in advance where to enter their buy stop order. So yes, it works very well for day trading, stocks, or really anything. Let me see here. I'm trying to expand the Q&A here. It's a little difficult to see. There we go. Let's see. We're getting a question from Trader. Yes. Is this for NASDAQ only, or can it? Yeah. It's any market, any index in the U.S. equities markets. You can actually use it on international markets as well. For instance, on the Metastock platform, if you have international data, you can use it for futures, Forex. It works in any market, all right? Let's see. Get down here to some more. Just scrolling through the questions. Okay. Yeah, so that you get the trade, we're getting a question about the package. So you get 12 months of the trade trend signals, and then you also get lifetime access to all of our live trade sessions, our coaching, our Facebook group, all of our training, and then our 2 bonuses. And if you want to continue with the trade trend signals, we have beyond the 1 year that's included in the package, you have different options to choose to do so, including lifetime options where you don't have to pay a subscription cost to do that. So we have a lot of different options, but you do get the 12 months of signals up front. All right. I see we have a lot of questions here, but I am limited on time, so I'm going to pass it back over to Anna. Welcome to everybody that's joined so far. Again, go to tradetrendlive.com. We've got a couple spots left. Most of them have filled up, so welcome to everybody who's joined. But I don't want to take up any more time from the next speaker, so I will go ahead and pass it back to Anna. And thanks again, everybody. Thanks, Anna, for having me. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Jeff. The Norman just told me that he don't mind if you take it a couple of extra minutes. But if you don't like nowhere else, you can do your Q&A.
Okay, great. That's good to know. So let me get back in. I closed it out, so I got to open it back up here. Okay, I'm seeing some questions about just the time commitment and training to use it. So it's the beauty is it's very user friendly. Again, we have members who don't have any experience trading that are really brand new that use the trade trend tool to make their buy and sell decisions because there's no guesswork involved. There's no interpretation. Although we do hold our live trade sessions where I show you how I use the tool and I run through some tips and tricks to optimize it and really get the most out of it. Even if you don't have any experience, it tells you the up to 3 candles advance whether to buy or sell, and it also gives you the price. So for instance, if it gives you a buy signal, let's say off of a daily chart on, let's just randomly pick a stock, let's say Facebook, it's going to tell you, okay, we've got a buy warning on Facebook. Over the course of the next 3 days, if Facebook hits X price and you know that price, it's given to you on your chart, that's where you enter your buy stop order. Then you simply wait to see if the order gets filled. If it doesn't, you cancel the order and there's no trade. If it gets filled, at that point, it gives you the trailing stop level. So it tells you each day after each candle finishes printing where to trail your stop loss, and then it manages your position, tells you exactly how to manage the trade until it gets you out. Okay, so it's literally start to finish. It tells you everything you need to do. So with that said, it works very well for beginners. It doesn't take a lot of time to learn or understand. And the beauty is it takes all the guesswork out of it, okay? And it keeps you on the right side of momentum and trend the vast majority of the time. Now, even if you're an experienced trader and you're just looking for an extra tool to help dial in your strategy or help you stay on the right side of momentum, maybe you're trading options spreads, for instance, you're trading credit spreads or vertical debit spreads, and you just want that extra edge to help increase your consistency and accuracy. This is a great tool for that. In fact, we have a lot of options traders because I'm seeing some questions about how it works with options. We have many options traders who come to us having traded very complex option spreads like butterflies, iron condors, calendar spreads, ratio spreads, and those can all be great strategies, certainly, and there's certainly nothing wrong with those strategies, but many traders who are trading very complex multi-leg spreads who end up using our trade trend software often simplify their strategies by going to a straight call and put purchases. So they'll simply buy a directional call or set up a very simple vertical debit spread to take advantage of the momentum. And they're able to do that because of the accuracy of pinpointing the shift in market momentum and trends. So that's definitely a powerful tool to have on your side if you're an options trader. Seeing how does it work for Forex. We have many traders who use it for Forex as well, very successfully. I don't personally trade spot Forex, although I have in the past. I predominantly trade Forex through the futures market. I'll trade the currencies through the futures contracts. So I use it there and it works very well for me. I'm seeing questions about how down to what time frame will it work. It actually works, it's programmed to be adaptive again. So regardless of what time frame, it actually works all the way down to a tick chart. So we do have some members who actually scalp trade with trade trend. Again, that's not in my wheelhouse. I don't really do any short-term trading like that. I'm more of a swing trader, but it does work on any time frame that basically you can produce in a chart. So great question there. Yep, so just getting a couple questions about how many spots are left. We do have a couple spots left still. They're mostly all filled up. So again, if you want to take advantage of our offer, go to tradetrendlive.com. And remember, you do get the $1,000 bonus. If you aren't able to make money with Trade Trend in the first 90 days, simply send us a screenshot of your trades showing us you weren't able to be profitable, and we'll give you $1,000 to spend on any of our products and services. Okay, that's how confident we are in the Trade Trend package. I'm seeing a question about how do I use it. Well, again, I use it in my, not only my personal trading account to make a living in the markets. And again, by the way, guys, I used Trade Trend to predict the recent Corona crash, and I made over $40,000 during the crash in my own personal trading account just off that one signal, guys. And I've also made some good money on the rebound as well because Trade Trend predicted the rebound at the end of the sell-off in March. So that's in my own personal account. I also use it in my hedge fund. And I don't do any day trading in my hedge fund, Altos Capital, but I do use the trade trend signals to make trading decisions and stay on the right side of momentum and trend in my hedge fund when I make trading investing decisions in my fund. So that's how I use it, guys. I don't do anything tricky or complicated. I simply use the buy and sell signals to stay on the right side of momentum. And it's really improved my consistency and accuracy in the markets, and I'm confident I can do the same for you. All right, so hopefully I've hit most of the main questions that have come through so far. Again, if you have any additional questions or want any sort of demo or examples of what's possible with trade trend, we're happy to do those for you. Just shoot us an email, support@altostrading.com, and we'll be happy to get back to you on those. In the meantime, again, thanks for having me, Anna, and thanks for everybody for joining and listening. I hope you got a lot out of the presentation, and welcome again to all of our new members.
Thank you so much, Jeff. Great presentation.
Thanks again, Anna. Thanks for having me.
Ladies and gentlemen, Norman Hallett. Hi, Norman.
Hi, Anna. How are you?
All good. Are you happy and safe?
Yes, I'm happy and safe. Hopefully you are too. I know that this whole thing is affecting everybody around the world, so it's good to see that that it doesn't affect all of us. I think if we just stay, adhere to the rules, I think that's the main thing. Okay, I think I'm sharing my screen, and are we looking at the full screen version, Anna?
Yep, looks good to me. I just make you an organizer that you would be able to see all of the questions from the attendees. And since it's the last spot of the day, you can go as long as you want.
Okay, I appreciate that. And people know how long-winded I can be, but I am going to stick to 45 minutes because my main computer is on the glitch, and I have somebody, I have a Genie coming over to fix it. And so this is going to be a nice, concise presentation that I think you'll like. Boy, Jeff had some very interesting things to say on momentum. He uses the MACD. He laid out the four main momentum indicators, and of course that's you got to agree with the four because they're out there being used by professional traders. And I also use the MACD, but I use primarily something, one of the others, and I'm going to show you what that is. I'm going to show you how I use that with a trigger. But first, I wanted to make sure that I wanted to welcome everybody. Thanks for being here. And I wanted to make sure that everybody got a copy of my book, Mental Fitness for Traders, because I think Jeff and Fausto, I know, because I'm very close to Fausto, and just about every professional trader will tell you that none of the stuff about where you buy and where you sell and how you do it works unless you are mentally and emotionally fit to make that happen. So that's what I am all about. I'm about the other half of trading that is largely ignored to most traders' demise, really. I was going to say struggle, but most traders actually lose money. They don't struggle. They struggle and make it. There's a lot of break-even traders out there that that tend to just keep going and going and going without any advance. And I guess that's a loss of a lot of time where you could be doing something else. But many of those people on the fence have been helped by this book right here. It's about 35-page ebook that I wrote about 10 years ago, and it is still being downloaded. It says over 287. It's over 310 right now, 1,000, because I've been doing a few presentations and kind of bringing this book back for people who have never seen it, because this is really the book that put me on the map. So if you have not, if you don't have a copy, whether you continue to listen to me or not tonight, today, just go ahead and grab your copy of this, thedisciplinedtrader.com/MF and the number 4T, which is kind of short for Mental Fitness for Traders. So I want to make sure that you take a second look at that and spell disciplined correctly. For those who missed that class in high school, thedisciplinedtrader.com/MF4T. Okay, let's get into the presentation, because I I'm going to keep this to 45 minutes, and I want to just make sure that you grab onto both forms of momentum that I'm going to discuss. They're really the two most important features of momentum in your trading. The importance of momentum and how to profit from it. If you don't know who I am, I'm known as the disciplined trader. I've made my reputation on helping traders be all that they can be. I treat traders like athletes, where you need to prepare before you go into battle. And those traders who do not journal, those traders who do not feed their mind with input in very simple ways to keep them on their trading plan, these are the people who need me. And even those that have been helped by me stick with me, because we're all in this together. We're constantly being barraged by talking heads, by other people's opinions, and by ourselves, by trades that we miss. And so we're willing to maybe again jump off our trading plan. You need to stick with your trading plan. I wrote a book on how to design and construct an effective trading plan. It's still offered, of course, on Amazon. That book, it looks like a book, but it's really a CD or a download now. More Profit and Less Stress. It was actually put out. It's actually one of my presentations for the Traders Expo that they put on video. And my personal favorite book, The Inspirational Quotes by Me, and it sounds a little heady to say that, but I've also done over 200 4-minute drill for traders. So if you Google 4-minute drill for traders on YouTube, you'll catch some of those videos. And I asked one of my assistants to go ahead and look through those 200 and pick out some of the phrases that hit them with some power. And there's 99 of them listed in that book. It's more of a coffee table type book, or if you need an inspiration for trading, just open it up and read a quote. I think you'll really enjoy it. I get a lot of great feedback on it. It's also available on Amazon. I used to work for Payne Weber. I wish I could say I'm proud of that, but and I guess I am proud of it. They were a big firm, and they do a nice job. But these firms are sales firms, and you know, unless you're somebody with big money, the job is to sell people as much as you can, as quickly as you can. My job for them was to raise money for their new futures account. Somebody else was trading it, not me. They wound up using a managed account. This was back in the late 80s, early 90s. They only worked for them a couple of years, wound up after 15% loss in the first 3 months, they disbanded that effort and wanted me to sell mutual funds, which I was not willing to do. So I went back to what I knew the best, and that is trading futures, trading options, and so on. So ITG, International Trading Group, is a very large, in the 80s, the largest option firm in the country, of which I was the regional vice president. I had many brokers under me. It was really before the time of exchange traded options, and really had a nice career there. Left them, formed the Hallett Group, which is primarily, I was managing millions for high-end clients in the futures market through my IB Hallett Commodities. But the last 15 years are really what I'm so proud of, and that is where I've joined my wife, who is a subconscious trainer, and decided to share with traders around the world how it was that I went from struggle to success by using some techniques that really are quick, effective, and can help you too. So that's really been that's our torch that we run around with, helping traders with the mental and emotional issues. But I want to show you something about trading. Look, there's a lot of traders, a lot of gurus out there that don't trade. Jeff was smart enough to show you some of his trading results, pictures, screenshots of it. I know how good a trader Fausto is, who preceded Jeff. And I'm also a trader that has had some success. And I want to show you today one of the momentum indicators that I stick to, and what the trigger that I use and why I use it. You see, in trading, unless you believe in what you're doing, unless you believe in the guts by which your trading plan was built and that you follow, there will be cracks in your discipline, which will lead to your being less than you could be as a trader. Let's get to first the definition of momentum, which is the quantity of motion of a body measured as a product of mass and velocity. Okay, so the heavier something is, the quantity of motion, mass and velocity, the heavier something is and the more speed that it has, the tougher it is to stop it. And as far as something at rest, I'm going to go through this in a second. If it's heavy and it's not moving, it takes a lot of force to get it going. And so momentum is the quantity of motion of a moving body measured as the product of its mass times velocity. Mass times velocity. I do some weightlifting, and my chiropractor is the world champion bench press. He's the world's best bench press, and he has been in his weight class for about 25 years. He's about 5 foot tall, and he has very short arms. And we laughed together, and I said to him, you know, you don't have to push that weight as far as I do. I'm sure the short arms helps you. I mean, you can't discriminate against somebody with shorter arms because they're a shorter person, but yet, and so they need to compete. Imagine competing with a 6'8" bench presser in your weight class, if that's possible. And you get my drift. Part of his success is because he doesn't have to move it a long way. So the product of mass and velocity, that really is the definition of work, but it holds here. So a moving body, when you look at as us as traders, what does it mean? Well, a moving body would be the chart and the price action. Okay, the chart action, the price action. The mass would be the volume, what's filling up that chart action. Is there a lot of volume behind it? That would be your mass. And velocity, of course, is the speed of the price movement. And so I look at that as the price of a candle. Now I'm kind of hearkening back to building a trading plan. And these are I go right from the base of why I'm doing something. And you need to start thinking like that too, I think, because if you don't believe in the process by which your trading plan was built, then it's not going to work for you. Now, I also have built trading plans around Fibonacci, but you know, I'm not as convinced in Fibonacci as others, even though I know that Fibonacci is a universal law, and I understand why I like to use it on some occasions. It's a little tougher for some people to understand, and if you don't understand it, I suggest you don't use it. Yes, that's my point. Okay, so moving body, mass, and velocity. Okay, that's what we're looking at as far as us as traders. Now, momentum has to be respected. We talk about it as go with the flow, the trend is your friend, that kind of thing. Okay, we all know that momentum is an important feature of trading. Now, inertia is something a little different. Inertia is the property of matter by which it retains its state of rest or its velocity along a straight line. So long as it's not acted upon by an external force, and that was part of my example before. When something inertia of rest is when you need to have a force to push that mass at rest in order to get it going. That measure of force is how strong the property of rest was. In the case of a moving object, you need an equal and opposite force in order to bring that to a halt. So I think you all remember those lessons in your old classroom. A body in motion will stay in motion until acted upon by an equal and opposite force. That's the way I remember my teacher telling it to me. So we got to look at momentum. We have to look at inertia. And I'm going to show you examples of it in the market. So I use here's a few tools that I use to monitor momentum. All right, I use RSI divergence. It's a particular occurrence that I'm going to show you a couple of examples. I use support and resistance, as most professional traders use, and I use what I call a loaded gun setup. My wife doesn't like me using the term loaded gun, and she's probably right, but when I looked at the formation, it looked like a gun. It looked like the trigger part and the barrel. So that's what I named it, and I'm going to show you why sometimes when you look at it like that, it can be a profitable thing. All right, here is a chart of this works in any time frame, any any market. Like Jeff, I'm not a Forex trader. I trade my currencies through the futures market. But I want to show you the versions. This is the, this of course is the big drop that we saw just recently in February through March of the S&P index. This is the ESM 20 contract, okay, June. And this is this, I think I clipped this off here about a week ago. So, but I wanted to show you this. This is Bollinger Band, so don't worry about that. That's for another discussion. Also, actually, I consider Bollinger Band another momentum indicator, even though Jeff didn't mention that before. It does have momentum tendencies to it as far as analysis is concerned. But I want to show you this RSI, and I also do not want you to get scared about my version of the RSI. This is a version put out by a woman named Hema Reddy, and Anna knows Hema because she's followed me on a few of these presentations, and been Hema is I got to say, she's a mentor of mine when it comes to, even though she's younger, she's a mentor. You don't have to be older to be a mentor. And she really knows her RSI, and so, but I don't want to talk about Hema right now, other than to say if you want some really great material on RSI specifically, you really want to go to Hema. Tell her Norman sent you, and at least you can give me one of those likes or something when I see her, thumbs up. All right, so here it is. And this is what I want to show you. This is the price action where we see higher highs. We saw higher highs all the way through this long, higher highs and higher lows. And here was the peak, okay? What I want to show you here is the fact that we do have a higher price here in this peak compared to this peak. But in the RSI, the momentum indicator, where this lower peak is congruent with this, and the higher peak is actually lower in the RSI. So there is, even though we had a higher price, we had less momentum behind it. That is a signal to give to look for a trigger on the short side. Now Jeff uses a trigger on the short side where he takes his indicative candle and uses a stop below that, in this case in a short sale. I use a different trigger that is, and I'm going to show you one, a perfect trigger right here that I use. And it's really not on this trade, but I want to show you the trigger because we have a form of it here. But the trigger I use is right here. This doji, right here is a doji. This line right here is this is a daily chart. So this is where the price moved in this day from 2,400 to 2,200. This was a big day of range, right, in price. But this dash here shows me that the open and the close were exactly the same price, which means that throughout this day, there was an indecision. They tried to push it higher, they tried to push it a little lower, but at the end of the day, there was no difference between the opening price and the closing price. There was total indecision. This is like the perfect beginning of a setup, okay? What this candle shows me, the following candle, is that the market opened here and opened at the low of the day and closed at the high. The fact that this is a green candle means that the close was above the open, okay? Just real quickly, this candle right here, where you see these two naked lines, we call them wicks, and the body, which is the distance between the open and the close. The open would be here, the close would be slightly higher here, resulting in this box here, okay, right? So the fact that it's green means it's open. The open was lower than the close, or the close was higher than the open. In the case of a red candle right here, we opened here and closed here. So a red means that the close is lower than the open. I think you know what a candle is, most of you. So when we have a candle that shows me indecision, followed by another candle that gives a definitive direction, which means there's a lot of power behind. Remember we talked about velocity? The power of the candle is the size of the candle. And this shows me that after indecision, the market made a decisive decision where it wanted to go. This is a buy signal in many of my trading plans that I developed. In any event, this is a very similar situation right here, where you have a very small candle, which shows that there was very little in the way of price movement on the previous day before a more dramatic move. Now, this may not look like a big candle, but if you look at the weeks before it, this, you know, we've learned to accept very big ranges in these days, but this was a very big range. Not only that, but it took out what was what I considered a support here on this old bottom, so this was a sell signal here. So the divergence, the fact that price rose and momentum suffered, went down, that divergence puts me at alert, and then I look for my trigger in the case it was here. And I'm going to get more into that on the next chart here. Okay, here's another divergent signal. We have a very high, very strong movement on the upside, a new high, a really strong high. This is the Japanese yen. Told you I traded currencies. I love the Japanese yen. It's been a great trading market. Nice move up here. However, flat, actually this is not flat, it is descending. So this is divergent. It doesn't have to be a huge wide divergence like this one. It can be a slight downward movement with a very strong price movement. That's a divergence. You know, when you have this kind of price movement here, that should excite the market. You should see momentum rising. When it doesn't, that's a signal. And here it is right here. Similar signal to what I talked about. So I'm watching now. I'm seeing a high here, and I'm seeing no high here, and I'm saying, boy, I got to watch this. So I see what they call here is a spinner, where you've got a very small body and wicks on each side. This spinner was followed by a move lower. Now, in this particular case, the fact that I probably wouldn't have been in here yet because we didn't cross this 8-bar exponential moving average, which I watched. But look again, it happened again here. We have a small body, okay, a spinner, followed by a nice move here. This led to a move that was without question. This was the big move, or big move in the Japanese yen. Again, here's a small, here's a candle that is this actually looks more like what they called a piece of tombstone type candle, but those occurred at the bottom of a run. But it's a candle with a small body, which shows you indecision, because the open and the close are the most important features of the trading day. That's what the Japanese believe, and that's where that's where candles are derived from. So again, you've got to understand why you're working with candles if you're working with candles. And so a decisive move after taking out all of these 2 weeks of lows shows me that the market is susceptible to now there are ways of avoiding these kinds of situations where you're knocked out prematurely, and in any of my trading courses I can show you what that's about, but you can see what I'm talking about as far as momentum. This gave me the fact that we had a descending RSI along with an ascending price has me on the lookout, and then you get in that direction on your trigger, and I showed you a couple of the triggers that I would use. Here's a market that I follow because I have a big interest, as many do, in the Bitcoins. If you trade Bitcoins, or you consider trade, and you know, how do I do Bitcoins? What's with the wallet? And you know, it's $9,000 Bitcoin, but I can trade 1/100th of a Bitcoin. What is that all about? You may want to start here if you're looking to trade Bitcoin. There is a Bitcoin futures contract, but it's a very low volume, and I wouldn't really recommend it. I'd rather see you learn how to trade the Greystone Bitcoin Trust. This is a trust that actually, look at these prices. We're talking about $8, $9, $10, $12, $13 a share here for this Bitcoin Trust. And look at this. Now, this is not I'm not talking here about divergence, but I want to show you the value of the trigger I mentioned to you before. Here's a doji, or a spinner, very small body indecision, followed by a dramatic move down, a powerful bar. This is momentum in and of itself, a powerful this. Now all of a sudden we've got inertia of rest, which nothing's happening. Now there is a power that forced this market to go down with a vengeance on that big bar, and now we started in motion. This is a sell, and look what happened here. And if that's not enough for you, here's another small body here that is dealing with this support here / resistance, and we escaped that after a indecision. We came with a decision, taking out the highs. Hey, that's a buy, and you would have been rewarded for that analysis. So the Greystone Bitcoin Trust is a way to, now you got to be careful with it. You got to watch your position sizing, because you can see that because this is not a futures contract that trades pretty much 24 hours a day. You've got some gaps between open and close, and that's true of any stock. Okay. I hope that you can see the value of a diverging price RSI comparison and using a trigger. You don't have to use my trigger. You can use whatever trigger you want. It just puts you on alert. But there's another and equally important application of momentum, and this is really where I hang out, and that is your personal trading momentum, your positive attitude, your conviction to your trading plan, your skill. It's a skill, not ability, to stay disciplined. All traders have this ability, okay? All traders have the ability, but not everybody has the skill. You, again, and write this down if you didn't write it down before, because I'm not sure I said it with enough conviction or with enough momentum behind my statement, and that is, you are an athlete. If you are a trader, you're an athlete. And athletes need to prepare. They need to develop their skills. A quarterback that has all the mobility in the world and has the most rushing touchdowns of any college quarterback, but somehow they're having a problem with their throwing accuracy on the long passes like Ryan Tannehill had for the Miami Dolphins. What you do is you start working on that skill. In the case of Ryan Tannehill, it was his long pass. Well, yeah, last year he almost got into the Super Bowl with a new team who worked on that with him and realized that that was a skill that he needed. I'm saying to you that if you're a struggling trader, all the new trading plans in the world will not help you. If you, A, don't believe in the process by which your trading plan was developed, and two, if you don't have the mental and emotional skill to stay disciplined. Okay, so let's take a quick look at momentum killing activities. Second guessing your trade, okay, while you're in a trade. Second guessing your trading plan while you're in a trade. In fact, you shouldn't be second guessing your trading plan during that trading day. And for me, it's that trading week. So you wind up knowing that any good trading plan can have 4 or 5 losses in a row. Okay, everyone, even Jeff's, even maybe he may argue with me and he may be right with his, but I have not seen a trading plan that does not have. Doesn't mean it's a bad trading plan. Could still be an excellent trading plan. It's just that you need to have the skill to be patient and trust your trading plan. Okay, listening to talking heads during the trading day. Okay, that hurts. And there's just more than a few traders that we coach that have this issue. Taking trades beyond your risk tolerance. Okay, we can get pretty excited with trades, especially ones that are winning, and we want to add to it. Now that's usually a mistake. Okay, taking trades beyond your risk tolerance is something that that's probably the biggest thing that you need to defend against. Here's some more momentum killing activities. The blowout trade. If you take a trade and you lose 10 or 15, 20% on a trade, that you may never get over that. You may think you're going to get over that, but if you are susceptible, if you're the same person that had a blowout trade that takes 15, 20, 30%, you're probably the same person that won't be able to get over that. Because this is probably the first thing. I said the other thing was the first thing. This is probably the first thing. It's really related. You gotta keep your risk to 1 to 2% of your equity in each trade. In a blowout trade, you didn't do that, and that's almost unrecoverable, because that is a golden rule. No more blowout trades, okay? And there are ways to do that, and we'll talk about that in another session. Not taking short breaks between, we can get fatigued. There is mental and emotional weakness. That's why I stand up. That's why I stretch. Doesn't take much. Move around a little bit. There used to be something years ago called the trading treadmill, where somebody actually designed with a couple of 2x4s and a tabletop, put it around straddled a treadmill and put it on the lowest setting and just walked while they were trading. And if you want to, I'm sure it's out there. Google it. The trading treadmill. I don't say you should buy that or do that, but stand up, stretch, and sit back down. That's really all it's needed. Insufficient nutrition and exercise. If you could see me, you could see bottles of nutrients that I take during the trading day. I take my omegas. I take my vitamin C. I take my antioxidants. All the things that defend against COVID, and also I've been doing this for decades, and really nutrition and exercise. You've got to be sharp. You've got to be ready to be. And you're an athlete. You're an athlete. And if you don't do everything that an athlete does to be their best, you won't be their best. You're a trader and you're an athlete. Okay. So here's some momentum building activities. The foundation really is your subconscious training. And I'm just going to, I'm almost actually done with the presentation, other than just to tell you about this. Take a sip of water here. What you're looking at is your brain. And this is physical. This is a picture and photograph. And what I'm looking at, what you're looking at, these right here are what they call neural pathways. They're actually energy streams that they're in physical form. They're neural pathways. They carry your thoughts and emotions. They carry your thought. In other words, if you're taking trades right now, if you lose 2-3 trades in a row, you may start to say to yourself, boy, I don't know if this is for me. I can't believe the trading plan got through. The trade looks so good. I can't believe it failed. I'm not sure I should be trusting my plan. Each one of those thoughts is one of these neural pathways. And if you give yourself enough negative neural pathways, it will form what they call a neural net. That's what you're looking at right here. The neural net is the part of your subconscious mind that will respond to a specific stimulus. So if I fed my mind, I'm a little concerned about my trading plan. Is this trading really for me? I can't believe I lost 4 trades in a row. You're going to develop a neural net with that, with those beliefs. Now, those beliefs are true for you, and your subconscious mind wants to keep you safe and keep you in line with what's true for you. So when you get the stimulus to take a trade, it checks. That's the conscious. You get the stimulus to take the trade, then your conscious mind refers to your subconscious mind what is true for you. Now, what's true for you is that I'm a little bit afraid. I'm not sure I should take the trade. Maybe you hesitate. So you either get in late or you don't get in at all. And of course, that's the big winner after 3 or 4 losing trades. You always miss the big winner, right? So when you have neural nets that are not serving you as a trader because you've put input in that don't serve you as a trader, you're going to respond to stimulus in the wrong way as a trader. You're not going to be all that you can be, okay? So what you need to do is to feed your own mind with the kinds of suggestions that serve you as a trader. So if you just take a few deep breaths, I'm not asking you to do it now, but take a few deep breaths and relax and listen to we have a 7-minute mental subconscious trainings that we're famous for in our Disciplined Trader Mastery program. And what you'll hear is the 7 minutes of my wise voice saying things like, you're a wise and disciplined trader, and you do the things that a wise and disciplined trader does. I trust my trading plan and know that in the long run, my trading plan will be successful for me. I understand that winning trades and losing trades are all part of overall losing. And when I close out a trade, I put everything behind me and I look forward to my next trade according to my trading plan. I'm a wise and disciplined trader, and I do the things that a wise and disciplined trader does. Now, that's not exact, but that's pretty close to some of the suggestions that you may hear in our subconscious trainings. And what you're doing is creating neural pathways that serve you as a trader. And they will form another new trading neural net for you, so that when the stimulus comes to take a trade and your conscious mind checks with your subconscious mind will say, hey, I'm a disciplined trader, take the darn trade. Don't look at me, take the trade. So you'll start to act like the athlete that you are as a trader. Look, Tiger Woods is famous for using subconscious training to improve his golf game. That's his father was huge on it, and he, from a very early age, he had Tiger Woods take deep breaths, close his eyes, even while he was holding the putter, and have him visualize the ball going into the hole. You know, I remember a guy, his name was Dwight Stones. back in the 70s, I think, 70s, 60s or 70s, where he was a high jumper. And if you ever watch a high jumper, their heads bob up and down before they actually take their first step to do their high jump. And what they're doing is they're mental imaging the success. When you do that, and it just didn't do it when he was making the high jump, and Tiger didn't just relax and feed his mind when he was standing over the putter. He did it way before, at night when he went to sleep. The more input you give your mind for your response to a certain situation, the stronger that neural net will be, and therefore the quicker and stronger and more specific your response will be to that same stimulus. So if you are screwing up in your trading, if you are moving stops around because you're afraid of getting hit, and then you pull that stop, it goes through, and you say, well, now let me put that stop in as a limit, just so I'm not a jerk to myself, and let it go. Look, I'm not calling you a jerk. We've all done it. I've done it. I've done it way in the past. I haven't done it in a very long time, and I don't plan to do it. And you shouldn't plan to do it either. What you should plan to do is put things in your mind that serve you. But you have to find the convenient way to do it, and that's what we're all about at the Disciplined Trader Mastery Program. So to wrap up this slide, a thought creates a neural pathway. By slipping into an alpha brainwave state, I mentioned a few deep breaths, you can direct specific thoughts, create specific neural pathways, and enough neural pathways will create a neural net. Okay, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but it's important that you understand the science. This is a photograph, okay? This is reality, okay? It's the way your mind works. Here's the Disciplined Trader Mastery Program, and I just want to take a few minutes and we'll wrap it up. You can see the welcome area, the basics. Basics is some of the things that, we were training people to be disciplined to run their trading plan, and they had lousy trading plans with bad money management, risk management schemes, and just not the basics. And too many position sizing was wrong, when to add, when not. So I took in 4 experts, one on building a trading plan, one on money and risk management, one on journaling, one on running your trading as a business. Joe Ross, you've heard of Joe Ross. He's written many books. Interviewed him for an hour on how to run your business mentally look, you're an athlete, you're a professional athlete. A professional athlete's business is to do his job on the court, or her job on the court, and make it happen for them with their best ability. And unless you have the basics down, you're not going to be able to perform as well as you can. So that basic series is all about those, especially beginners, especially those that really need a brushing up on some of those areas. But the core modules, here's the area, the core modules, where the subconscious trainings, those 7-minute subconscious trainings hang out. And there's 6 core modules. And I'm going to show you what they are in a second. There's plenty of bonus materials. This is a lifestyle section. I should mention this. I'm going to mention it in a second, but here's the core module, okay? Here's one of the core modules, and here's what it looks like. The second element of the core module is the subconscious training that I mentioned. In the core module 1, you're looking at the strength to pull the trigger, okay? I kind of recited what may be part of that. If you're in an alpha brainwave state, it's my wife's voice. She is the professional. She's been on Subconscious Training magazine. She's been spoken in 50 different countries on how the mind works and so on. She is your trainer in this, okay? I'm just a product of her training, and so are all the thousands of people that have gone through our training. Every one of these core modules starts with an introductory video of me just explaining how to get through all the elements. But this is where the change occurs. All you have to do is take this 7-minute training once a day for a couple of weeks, 7 or 8 repetitions. And I still take them to this day. Continue to refresh my mind with fresh neural pathways, make my neural net stronger and stronger and stronger. I am an athlete, and it's me versus the market, okay? And now, and so I'm saying to you that if you just do this particular training once a day for 7 or 8 days, your neural net will be intact, and you'll be running your stimulus in the right way. You'll be responding in the right way, okay? Here's the core module 2. Overcoming thoughts of fear and greed. I like, we get the most response on core module 5, which is patience. Most traders, when they turn around their ability to be impatient to patient, when they develop the skill of patience, all of a sudden they're waiting for lines to cross. You know, all of a sudden they're waiting for the trigger. You know, and in Jeff's presentation before me, he talked about looking at the momentum indicator and then waiting for the trigger. Now he implants the trigger, but I will assure you that one of the things that his people do in the beginning is try to jump that, and he coaches them out of it, I'm sure. But what I'm saying to you is that you need to have patience, and core module 5 is all about patience. Thoughts of fear and greed. I don't know which is worse, fear and greed. I've seen it hurt many traders, and I've seen when you develop when you develop the confidence in your trading plan and you overcome those thoughts of fear and greed, that is a critical way to turn around your trading success. Okay, and here's what that session would look like in your screen. It's got a little spinner. I guess it looks like a hypnosis light kind of a thing, but it's really more of a meditation. And that thing spins around, but after about 30 seconds of the 7 or 8 minute session, you're asked to close your eyes. So you're really not looking at that, but it kind of gives you something to focus on. You can actually focus on a bottle of water and you don't really have to look at that. But the idea is that you really want to focus your mind. The more focused you are in your thought, the stronger those neural pathways will be. Okay, so here's your core competencies. Here are the 6 core competencies: strength to pull the trigger, overcoming fear and greed, trading to make money mindset. I mentioned Joe Ross. This motivated us to do this, because if you don't think about your trading as a business, you're not giving full credit to what you're doing. You know, if you look at a trade and you make money in a trade, and then you say to yourself, well, let me take another trade because that's profit. I have a little leeway here to look at. You start thinking like that, you're in trouble. When you P&L a trade, when you take that trade off and the trade is out now and you've made money, that profit is now part of your core funding. And when you do your math about 1% and 2%, you need to include that in your core funding, no more, no less. When you make a trade and you're profitable, it's part of your profit. When you lose in a trade, it's the cost of doing business. That kind of mentality, that kind of skill to think in things this way when you talk of trading to make money mindset is a vital session. Strength to take your losses. This is very specific to taking your losses. Exercising patience, I've mentioned how important that is, and sustaining discipline, which is really a culmination of suggestions that are in all of these previous 5, all in one. I like to see people take that when they're already starting to turn around. They've already started to win for several months in their trading. They're starting to see and feel the professionalism that they've developed. They're seeing themselves and experience themselves as a trading athlete. That's when sustaining discipline comes in. Okay, and I don't want you to get scared with the TBC lifestyle. It says better sex up there, and that's a session on better sex. You see what happens is that when traders develop these skills, when a trader becomes patient with his or her trading, all of a sudden they're much more patient with their wives and their husbands and their kids and their dog and their life, and standing on a line 6 feet in back of somebody. All of a sudden it's just part of the day, and they understand it because now they're patient. These skills become general skills in your life. And we had many of our traders, it started about 10 or 12, 13 years ago, where they started saying, do you have any other sessions for other parts of my life? Well, we have. What they didn't know is that before we specifically spent our time exclusively on traders for 15 years ago, we developed many softwares for golfers, for tennis players. In fact, our golf software is still being used by many professional golfers out there. It was helped develop by Dr. Fran Perzolo, who is he's actually the trading psychologist for the Yankees during their winning years in the 90s, and also one of the top golfing coaches. We did one on business skills, on sales mind software. We had something for entrepreneurs. Anyway, there's 100 different other sessions right here that are in personal development, personal relationship, self-esteem. We have one for students, better memory, relaxed test taking. So a lot of our traders who have kids who have trouble taking tests, they'll say, hey, come on, Bobby, get over here, do this quick session, and they'll throw on better memory, or better memory session, which runs just like the session I showed you for exercising fear and greed, only of course the suggestions are about that. So in the lifestyle section, you get all of our other softwares. There's 9 other ones, and there's 10 sessions in each software. You get them all when you're with the disciplined trader. Okay, here's some other ones: personal development, physical fitness, sales, stop smoking, students, tennis, Think and Grow Rich. I love the Think and Grow Rich books. So we did a few of those. There's a few more for traders. I said there's 6 core in the core element. There are 4 or 5 more here, which was part of our Trading Mind software, which was one of our big sellers 15 years ago. Weight loss. You know, if you want to lose a few pounds, there's a few things there about the portion size and so on. So it's all there for you. We're helping you be a complete person. You know, traders are people too. You're an athlete. You need a good life. Okay, so here's some of the other ones in the outside of the core area in the lifestyle section for traders: maintaining discipline, coping with losses, and letting go of negative thoughts, which is part of what I explained before. When you start thinking that your trading plan is worthless and that you may not be right for it, when you have those kinds of negative thoughts, you've got to let go of those. Okay, so here's the offer, and that's me, and that's a bunch of the hundreds, if not not thousands, but maybe 1,200-1,500 testimonials that we've gotten over the years all around me. This membership to the Discipline Trader Mastery Program is priced so that all traders can be part of the trader family. In fact, this price is good until June 1st, because June 1st it's going up. We're giving a 2-week free trial, and it's $49 a month. That is it. For everything you can start turning your mind around to follow your trading plan, to be the athlete that you should be as a trader, to be all that you can be as a trader for $49 a month. That's thedisciplinetrader.com, okay? Thedisciplinetrader.com. It's $49 a month. If you log into this same site, I'm sorry, it should say .com there, shouldn't it? So let's, I don't know why I put this in there. It is. I guess I got heady there. So it's thedisciplinetrader.com, okay? And if you click on this on June 1st, that number is going to be $67, okay? So you can get in for $49 right now for the next couple of days, but do it now and get in on the. We're not sure whether we're going to maintain the free trial or not. I still haven't made that decision, but you're going to get it right now. 2-week free trial, and then after that free trial, if you stay with us, and I know you will, the vast majority do, $49 a month. So that's really where my presentation is at, and where I'm at, trying to make you the trading athlete that you are. Okay. So if you've got any questions, this would be a good time to ask them. I see somebody said something about the 70s. I guess that had something to do with with me. All right. And are there any questions at all? And I'll be willing to take them right now. Otherwise, just go to thedisciplinetrader.com and secure your 2-week free trial, $49 a month, because without the discipline to run your trading plan, things will just be the way they've always been, I believe, for you. So if you don't do something different, you're going to have the same results. Okay, do we have any questions? Doesn't look like there's any questions. I think that, you know, when I put people to the wall here, sometimes it's a little bit shocking. You know, but listen, you're a valuable listen, you wouldn't be this far into it, I don't think, going to series of presentations like this, unless you were serious about at least wanting to make income to supplement your income, or wanting to do it. You know, that leads to wanting to do it full time. That can happen for you if you consider yourself an athlete as a trader, and you start training as an athlete, doing the things that an athlete does. And that's really all about getting your head together. There's a lot of different trading plans that will work. Believe me, you have to believe in them. As I said before, you have to believe in the guts of what makes the trading plan. But if you can do that and get your mind together and be the athlete that you could be, you'll be the trader that you always wanted to be. Okay, so I don't think I see any other questions. Yes, again, there's somebody asking about, yeah, again, June 1st is when the price changes. So a 2-week free trial, $49 a month.
Thanks so much to everyone who attended today's show. Don't miss our next event on June 4th. Follow us on Instagram to find out more about our upcoming events. Once again, thanks to everyone and happy trading!